Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Survivor Rankdown podcast's Survivor Retrospectives. I'm your host for the 18 hours, Mike from Rankdown 6. And, title says it all. We're doing Marquesas today. And I am only joined by 3 other people. We were supposed to have 4 other people. Kyle was not feeling great at the last second, so his rankings are going to be included in the overall ranking at the end, but just had to get that disclaimer out there. And I'm really excited for this one. I rewatched the entire season in full, and it's the best I've ever seen it. I was blown away all over again. I had just forgotten how magnificent this season was. So I'm particularly very excited for this episode, and why don't the rest of you guys introduce yourselves alphabetically?
All right. Alphabetically. You go.
I think I'm
C.
first, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Caleb. I'm from Rankdown 5. I did the Borneo retrospective, and I think that's it so far. But this is my favorite season of Survivor, so I'm super excited to be here tonight. All serious. This season's
Yeah.
too good for me to make jokes about it.
Love to
That's
hear
raw.
it.
That's
Love
raw.
to hear it.
Yep. I'm Funky. I'm currently doing Rank Down 9, and I've been on, Borneo, Outback, and Africa. I'm happy to be here on Marquesa. This is my I did in the first season. This is what I always call my favorite of the franchise survivors. So I'm ready to fairly and consistently judge this season with y'all. So
Okay, so I'm Light. Oh my heck, this is my first podcast.
hey,
I was on Rankdown 3 and well,
Holy old head.
y-
how could you not like a season that has such great challenges as the kite flying challenge and the stilt
Can't even talk.
challenge?
This might be the greatest set of challenges any season has ever had. I'm not even gonna lie to
I
you.
Listen,
kind of agree with that, but to be
Yeah.
fair, this I say I'm probably the lowest on it here. It's in my top 7, so don't get on
Yeah.
too hard for that.
I
Too low,
For
too
real.
low.
I moved it from my top 6 to my top 3.
Yeah.
Raw top seven.
You watch a season from the objective top six, and then you move it into like the top three until you watch the next season from the objective top six.
Nah, I
Yeah.
I still I still got Gabon above Africa.
Oh man.
All right.
Last time I watched Africa, I was like, because I watched in chronological order. I was like, damn it, this might be better than Marquesas. Then I watched Marquesas and I was like, damn it, I guess this is better than Africa. So I'll probably
I'm
ping pong
telling you,
forever.
I'm telling you,
Yep.
that's how it works. The one you watched most recently is the one you're hyping up the most.
I am
It
very
can be like that.
I am pretty locked in on this season being better than Africa, personally.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that by a long shot.
Oh wow. All right. Well, let's get into the
Let's go.
Marquesa, as our good friend Kathy would say.
Mm-hmm. Some general thoughts.
The general thoughts. Yeah.
The general
Yeah.
thoughts. Well,
Yeah.
the
Small
greatest
sausage.
tattoo in Survivor history.
That's true. That's true. He's not overcompensating for anything. That's
Yeah,
Nope. Mm-mm.
that's the vibe
especially
I get from the
pink,
general.
especially that pink tribe buff in the merge.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, that's such an awe. That's like okay, we can get into it when we get to it. But like obviously, like I said before, this is my favorite season. I love really everything that they do with this season. I feel like, especially if you're watching correctly, which is like you're watching the seasons in order in the order they came out. Like this is basically really the first climax of the show. You know, after Borneo, obviously, like this
Mm-hmm.
is kind of what the show spends 3 seasons building toward getting to this really perfect conclusion to the idea of what Survivor is in like its very early onset time, which I think is awesome. And obviously, like combining all that context really just gives you such a perfect season with a perfect cast.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to get into some, you mentioned the cast, some behind the scenes fact is this is the only cast that Robin Cass did instead of Lynn
Uh-huh.
Spillman. I believe she was out on
Yes, yes.
maternity leave. So they did the casting director from Big Brother. So that was like a pretty big change and something that makes this season pretty unique. the casting direction. He was just a completely different person.
Hmm.
You can feel it too. Like you can
Mhm.
definitely feel how different it is because you have really a cast that you're not going to get on any other season. And obviously for all your early seasons, all your really good seasons, you can say that about all of them, but like you can definitely feel the difference from the jump with this one.
Mhm. Oh yeah, something. When I showed my brother Marquesa, that's so pretentious saying Marquesa, but when I showed my brother Marquesas
Hmm.
earlier this year, he was, we were watching chronological order, and we are on Mararamu, and he's like, and we were discussing, wow, this feels like the first time they put four just like complete alpha males all in one tribe, and four really strong guys and a really strong tribe. You kind of see how that combusts in a
Immediately.
certain way.
Yeah.
So I love the tribal divisions in this, and like we were saying, this is just a very unique cast. Put two people from New England on the same tribe together, like
Yeah, I mean, and
it's
I
awesome.
you can
also
like you can also say that this is really their first experiment of the thing that they love to do every season now, where they just make a yellow tribe that is a disaster on purpose, and then they just kind of throw it out there and let them go to tribal 27 times in a row.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I will
mean,
say
like, don't you?
another thing I do love about what they did with the casting was with the Robs. I mean, obviously Boston Rob, but they have him wearing a Patriots hat, and then they have the General wearing a Jets hat. So
peak
that right, you
heart.
know. And then like my first time watching when I was like 12 years old, I was like, "Oh my God, there's gonna be a battle between the Patriots and the Jets," and then all it is just Boston Rob saying that the General is a tiny sausage.
Do you think that Robert Kraft watched the season because Boston Rob was wearing a Patriots hat and got really mad when the dude wearing the Jets hat beat him? That or Tom Brady?
He got so mad he had to go to Florida.
You think Robert
Had to go to some
Kraft knows
spas.
who? You think Robert Kraft knows who Zoe Zandakis is?
I think he knows who Boston Rob is, which is probably just as cool.
Listen, Donald Trump knows who all these people are, so that's
That is true. That is
Yep,
true.
he sat next to
He definitely
Kathy's
remembers all of them.
family at the Marquesas finale,
hmm
which I guess we'll get into, but that Marquesas finale was such a big deal. We'll talk about kind of the history of where our nation was at the here in a sec.
Mhm.
Because that's very important to Marquesas and a lot of this cast and a lot of I think how this season shaped up in a lot of ways that might not be obviously apparent to people viewing this retrospectively. But yeah, this was super duper important. I guess if we want to, we can go ahead and start diving into some of the preamble of the season.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll just go to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
shoot. I guess this is we had to pull the band-aid off. We ready to talk about 9/11 a little bit?
again,
Yes.
man. Yeah, no, I was
Yes.
this was the first season filmed after 9/11. So
Yeah, I believe casting finals took place like as 9/11 was going on. Like the
That
final
is
group of
correct.
like
Yeah.
48 people.
yeah.
Um,
I was listening to the Kathy interview, and she said, yeah, I think she was in LA for casting finals when 9/11 happened. So that's yeah,
yeah.
that's that.
Mhm.
But I mean, I guess we'll just get this out of the way. As most of you probably should know, Survivor Marquesas was not supposed to be Survivor Marquesas. It was supposed to be Survivor Jordan.
Or
And
Survivor Arabia taking place in Jordan, kind of like Survivor Africa, but took place in Kenya.
yeah, and so that didn't. Again, I think a Survivor season in a.
Oh,
Imagine
that
that.
would have been ridiculous.
I will say, this is the best possible version of the season that we ever could have gotten, obviously. However, imagine Survivor with Lawrence of Arabia. Like,
Oh
kinda,
yeah.
kinda, yeah.
Like,
Mark Burnett is a freak. He would have adored that. He loves these big epics. Lawrence of Arabia would have been, you know, we would have had a cut of the sepia blowing a match leading into the fucking sunset. That shit would have been the greatest thing ever.
Mhm.
Sean would have ridden a
He's
camel
such
and bruised his balls on a camel. Like, come on.
yeah. Like I think you can really see it too because like I do think that a lot of what Mark wanted in his vision for that, he just is like, you know what, fuck it. Like we're doing it on a beach, but I'm still just going to be super pretentious about it. And he carries that over straight from Africa into this season because I do think Africa and Marquesas are like the two most highbrow, pretentious seasons that Mark has ever put his hands on for this show. It's just like very like deep cut, it like follow the star, and then Helen Send in this season. It's just like Mark is cooking.
Yeah.
I truly believe, though, if they went to Survivor Jordan with the way Survivor is going after Australia and then Africa, someone would have died.
I
Oh,
hope so.
hey,
Not
why would
not
you
you know
tell that talk
obviously
about
not for
Pascal like
like
that?
yeah. Not for like their own sake. Like obviously it's good that no one has ever died on Survivor, but like for
Yes.
us as a viewer, can you imagine like what Mark would do with that? Oh my god, it'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah. And listen, Pascal was like on the brink of death in the Marquesas, so just imagine. If Pascal doesn't get
Yeah.
rocked out, does he survive the season?
I think
Oh
there's
yeah.
few enough
I think he was fine.
there are few enough days left at that point. I think he's probably fine.
Yes.
Probably just all hit him once he
Yes.
like started, you know, being out of the game.
Plenty of people get sick after they leave the game and go to Ponderosa, which I think is what happened with Pascal.
Probably a drop in like adrenaline.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So
Um yeah, I mean, I guess like as you had mentioned, the big I guess overarching motif or story of the season. I don't know if this is
mhm.
good for here or theming. Is or really before we get into that, just how the story of this season really just evolves the game.
Yeah, like
Oh,
obviously, like I said, the show itself builds up to this moment, and everybody knows the moment. Like it's
Hmm.
John Carroll, John Carroll boot is like the moment of the season, right? If you're gonna remember one thing from the season, for better or for worse, it is the John Carroll boot, even if there are better things,
Hmm.
in my opinion. But like obviously, that is what it is. The story really leads up to that, and then it is the rise and fall of the Road to Four is the big story of the season, and kind of where we go from there is what the story goes to in the second half.
Hmm. And
yeah, like
obviously the underdog arc of Manamu, and
Uh-huh.
really just how I mean, obviously Fall of the Road to Four, the Manamu redemption arc. This also does very much feel like Kathy's season.
Yeah. Well, I think you have, obviously you can get into that in like cast and character and everything too, but like Kathy is the blueprint for so many characters who are beloved later on in Survivor history. Like, she is when you think of like the growth arc, the Survivor growth arc, Kathy is the first and the most important one.
Yeah, I always say that every season they just try to do Kathy again. A lot of the times,
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
there's so many
And they won't they
Kathy
won't admit
rips.
it to themselves. Yeah, they won't
Yeah.
admit it to
Or they won't
themselves. They
admit.
probably think that they're casting like they're trying to cast like they're saying to themselves, "Oh, we're casting another Suri or we're casting another Aubrey," but those two are cast off Kathy's back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah. In contrast to that, I don't think they've ever really they've tried to replicate Kathy and they've with some
I
level of
agree.
success, but someone they haven't replicated is Sean. Like I know they definitely try to do it, especially early New Era with all the oh my god,
Mhm.
I was a fat kid or whatever, or like I was,
Yeah,
but
Raw,
probably the
you were
closest they've
chubby
got,
in middle school.
but the closest thing they've
traumatic.
ever come to Sean is the the stuff in season 41, maybe. I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna go through every season and look at their depictions of race, cough cough Guatemala,
I don't know.
but
It
Yeah,
it
no,
that's
does.
a good point, and I think a credit to a lot of these earlier seasons. There's a lot that we could say about Mark Burnett and the portrayal of race on early reality television, or even reality television right now. But to have a character like Sean, who is just so vocally expressive. What does Vesepia call him in episode one? Malcolm
Malcolm
Farrakhan.
Farrakhan, yeah.
Like
Malcolm
we're,
Farrakhan.
we're hearing Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, mentioned in the first episode of a primetime network television show. Like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Hmm.
That's insane. And
In the peak of its popularity too.
yeah, yeah. So I think in a lot of these early seasons, I don't think like nowadays my philosophy with Survivors, they cast a lot of people that I think that you know Probst and casting likes as a person and wants to hang out with. I think in a lot of these earlier days, they casted a lot of people that were interesting, that were willing to speak about their beliefs one way or another, that were willing to create this drama or get loud and all
Yeah,
that good
this would
stuff.
be
And
dramatic.
yeah, and
and
they would push back on, like, I think Burnett liked when people pushed back on um their beliefs or
Hmm.
what he was saying in one way or another. You
and
know,
it's not yeah, and it's not like Sean isn't a fun person to hang out with, probably. Like, you
oh
know?
yeah. Yeah,
He's probably super fun to hang out with.
yeah, well, you have John Carroll say, like, in his elimination episode at Tribal Council, where he's just like, I've made a lot of bonds here, but at the end of the day, I hope we all still get to be friends after this. There's a lot of people I like and want to talk to afterwards. And of course, you get the great Sean saying they'll get chicken and waffles once it's all over. Checkmate, gotcha, bro. So
Hmm.
That's
yeah, and even I will talk about it a lot, but like Pascal he is one of my favorite characters, but he has a lot to say about Sean. Some stuff colored negatively, some stuff positively. A lot of we'll see a lot of his own biases come out. But even just watching this, there's a lot of moments where he's very complimentary of Sean as a player, and he's saying that at least he's honest, he's truthful, or complimenting him as a person, or
Hmm.
I like when Sean wins the car, Pascal tells him that your students are gonna go crazy. You've made your students proud, and I always thought that was a
Mhm.
really sweet moment
Hmm.
between the two of them.
And also like Pascal and Vesepia, where even at Final Tribal, Pascal's like, Vesepia, I would be honored to call you a daughter of mine. Pascal's very. I have a
Though he
lot of
does
thoughts.
also say that to the girl he perved on all season.
Yes.
Nah, 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 nah.
Well,
There's
well,
nothing in
Also,
Pascal's history that would make me think he was a pervert.
also,
we'll get into a lot of Pascal stuff. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, viewers.
Mhm. Oh man.
Fair and
Yep.
consistent judge.
Yeah. And another thing um of- in this that I love Jeff's Probst, because I just watched that Final Tribal Council where he talks about um and a lot of you see this all throughout the season is Jeff Probst sums it up really nicely about how you have to justify your behavior. These final two, they justify their behavior while condemning the same behavior in others. And we get a lot of
Tammy.
great, yeah. Tammy really hits on that at her final Trouble Council speech, and then even just once the switch happens, like when we get one of my favorite sequences, the Brand New Day sequence, where they sing the song from The Wiz
Oh,
at the
oh, I
water
love that.
fountain.
Hmm.
Phenomenal scene, and then it cuts to Tammy and the general, and they're talking about you know the tables have turned, and now they're just doing the same thing that they just got villainized for. But now they're
Yes.
they're the ones in the minority. They're getting ganged up on, and so it leads into this very interesting ethical discussion.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
the one thing that I've always said about this season is that there are a lot of seasons where it's like, Borneo is the season where the people create the game of Survivor, right? Or like Palau is like the season where you can most see how Survivor affects the people that play it. This is the season where you can really see how the people that play Survivor affect how Survivor actually goes. It's just like you really get to dive deep into like the hypocrisy and the human element and like how flawed every single one of these people are, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
If you go into the season though, in addition to the race, I think this might I correct me if I'm wrong, but this is potentially the most like religious
I was going to
at
get
least the
Oh,
into it.
final
I was
two.
absolutely.
going to get
Exactly.
into it when we talked about it in theming. I was going to say that like
Yeah.
Jesus is the 17th character on this season.
Speaking
Like
of,
he is so
are you
present.
guys down to segue into theming?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
Yes,
think
so
we
because
theming,
we can talk about religion
yeah, I feel
here.
like that is
mhm.
like, I feel like the big thing with the religion thing is that like the final five are the five most religious people on the cast.
Uh-huh. Yes.
At
And
least,
but like
by a
even
long
then of
shot.
course, obviously.
at least the two duos. I
Other
think
than Peter.
at least, yeah, it's probably the
I do
two
not.
duos. Then I don't know exactly how high Kathy is on that ranking, but I think I don't think it's disingenuous to say that the final five are the five most religious people.
It's totally fair.
Hmm.
And like also Mark Burnett, very famously super religious.
Hmm.
So he's
Oh
going to
yeah.
take that and run with it as well. Like this season is overtly religious and overtly spiritual. There's a lot of Jesus symbolism. There's a lot of like characterization of characters out of Jesus. John Carroll very famously characterized very heavily as Jesus for the first like
Oh
half of the
yeah.
season.
The shot of him in the waterfall with his arms
The waterfall shot,
laid
yes,
Hmm.
out.
very,
Yeah.
very Jesus-like,
Yeah. Right before he
like
goes skinny dipping.
very overtly Jesus coded stuff. Of course, you have Helen Stend as well, the upside down satanic characterization ideas that is peppered throughout this season as well. Is
Mhm.
really fun stuff too. But yeah, I mean, religion, obviously, Mark Burnett, his fingerprints are all over the season. Religion is so prominent in this cast, and Mark Burnett took that as his go ahead to basically make this season super religious in the subtext.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which
I
is
mean, I
something
don't think it's just the subtext. I think like the whole
Oh yeah,
season, like,
but like
hmm,
of course, but like all of the like the fun like subtle theming is
yeah,
really based around that too.
hmm,
Mhm. And
I
something I do want to mention with that is like we were saying, we have some of these great characters that are able to talk about it so well. And kind of bringing back into like how this season was initially perceived. And I know a lot of days, a lot of people that are reality TV fans were very much, at least the ones on the internet, anti-religious. They didn't like hearing about this kind of thing. We don't get a lot of it in the show anymore, but I've always found spirituality a very powerful thing. It
hmm,
reminds me of the quote Vesepia says in one of the tribal councils when I think Marahamu was lost like three or challenges in a row, whatever. And Vesepia is talking about inner strength. And she's talking about how her inner strength comes from, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But, someone else's could be coming from Buddha and someone else's could be coming from, you know, just
Hmm.
looking at the stars at night.
hmm,
And that's just one of my favorite things I've seen on television. And a lot of these just, hearing Sean or Vesepia or Nalia or Pascal speak about religious in um, their own spirituality, I think is just very, very interesting and chilling and, inspiring to me a little bit. And I'm not a very religious person, but I like seeing passionate
Yeah,
people. So,
hmm.
I totally agree with you. I think some of the best content in the show is based on people's spirituality and their religion. And that Vesepio quote's one of my favorites. That's another reason why that Hunter boot is like super easy 10 out of 10 episode to me. I fucking love that episode.
mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like the religion theme, like at its most overt, is within the final tribal council, and specifically
absolutely.
how Nilia and Vesepia both, whether fully intentionally or not, both of them would not be where they were without vocally being so religious, and the ethics of using that in the game, if you know, in
Mhm.
terms
And
of
I love
bringing religion into a game
it's
like
a
Survivor and how, you're lying, backstabbing, all that, while
Mhm.
trying to maintain this like religious figure, and it's like,
Yeah,
is that
it's a
would Jesus give you $1 million for that? Like,
yeah, it's a
Yeah, and
really great point. It's a really great point, and it's also like it's an awesome framing in the final tribal because the two other people who are super overtly religious that make it to the final tribal or make it to the jury phase of the game. Obviously, Peter. If Peter was there, he probably would have denounced it too. But like Sean and Pascal both get up and like denounce the way that Tammy and John are like grilling
hmm
Leah and Giuseppe for like
yeah, these two
utilizing,
Bible
their
thumpers.
faith and everything. Yeah, exactly. And like their speeches are like super tame and like very, like basically doing the whole like, oh, I love you guys and I don't think that you guys deserve to be criticized when,
Yeah, you
Tammy
two
and
were the
John
hmm
best
just
because
like
you got
they're
the
giving it,
furthest.
giving it like that really adds to that because of course like Sean or not yeah Sean and Pascal are going to take that as like an attack on them as well because they made it far in the game and they also use their religion as a shield, so it's just
Yeah,
like great stuff.
so good. Sean and Pascal. Um, th- well, next time any of y'all watch Marquesas, look for any time Sean is in the water. I, I those are some of my favorite scenes. I think it was used very purposely. Because we get this beginning scene of Sean finally, because they had to row into camp just like the very first season. They rowed into camp. Sean, a city
Yep.
boy who's never been in the ocean before, falls down on in the sand with the waves on top of him, just bewildered and amazed and overcome with all these emotions, and is really thankful to God. And him and Peter, pray together
Yeah, I
to
was gonna say him and Peter praying together in the water.
yeah, Boston Rob makes some good jokes on that and points out, the and they have this cool baptism revival thing, and that they're either playing the game really early or they were off their rockers. So you already
hmm
have Rob out there thinking like, oh, okay, people can use religion in this game one way or another. And then another moment that kind of echoes it is when Sean and Pascal they win the challenge where they have to fill up the coconut water. And they win and they embrace each other and they're rolling in the sand with the water on top of them. And oh man, it's just
Mm,
some of my favorite
So
just imagery of it. And of
the
course they get to
first like two
experience
minutes.
yeah, one of the greatest rewards ever. And they feel really bonded and they talk about, their different how, they're very opposite people and just the way they their demographics and stuff, but they've come together, they've bound together through Christ and through all this, and they get to have this once in a lifetime opportunity. And at the end of it, they're both in tears, and it's just so good. And there's other small little scenes of Sean in the water that I think are just really, really good and kind of does have a religious overtone in the themes. But those are the two big ones that just always give me chills.
hmm
of course, during Brand New Day when he's under the waterfall, shades of John Carroll.
Oh
Sean is the
yeah.
new Jesus. Obviously, that's another big one. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
I mean, this season is just so overtly like religious, like symbolism. Like that is
Mhm.
it is like it's like church this season, basically.
Yeah. And so many of those important things happen in that waterfall. That's where the Rotu 4, they really reaffirmed their pack after John talked to them all.
Hmm.
Um, like Kathy and Nalia both talk about going to the waterfall as a form of relaxation and to cleanse all the bad spirits away from them. Like when Kathy was irritated
Yes, yes.
with Zoe lying to her, she goes to the waterfall and she's talking about how she feels empowered by it. And Nalia is talking about how the waterfall rejuvenates her. And so yeah, a lot of these
Yeah.
waterfall scenes, um, yeah, just really interesting where they're placed.
hmm Any other big theming we want to go over? Because I know there's a fuck ton.
I guess this is probably less significant and it's a little bit more of just kind of what happens, but a big theme of the pre-merge outside of obviously all the religious theming that goes through the season is, I guess we could get into it later as well, but the story around Hunter Ellis and how like this is the
Mm.
first time we've ever had someone that's you would imagine Hunter would do well, and then he just doesn't, and that's a lot of how Boston Rob gets his start as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Straight out of The
obviously,
Godfather.
like,
That was
yeah,
terrible.
like I said, half jokingly, like previously, that this is the season where they get their start in creating yellow disaster tribes, and
Hmm.
like, not true, but like the the absolute dismantling that Rotu does to Maramu early on in the season is a very powerful theme in its own right, because you never had a tribe that was like that dysfunctional and that awful,
Yeah, they
even to the
couldn't get
point
it.
where when they swap and they gain Rotu members, there are more Rotu members there after the swap than there are, original Maramu people, and they're still losing like like every challenge
Yeah,
basically.
the four
To be
chicks and the old guy,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
Kathy
but
says.
not like they were getting, the general over there or somebody who's gonna actually help them win a challenge, but like still, just like
They
that
won a
does permeate the
challenge.
entire pre-merge, and just like the helplessness of just how bad Maramu is, and
They.
like how powerful it makes the Rotu 4 scene. That's
Hmm.
a huge part of building up, like, John and the general and Zoe and Tammy as these like massive threats that when, the five people do get together and eventually turn on them, it's like that is huge because they've been so much more dominant than any other alliance we've ever seen.
It is
Yeah,
hard.
and they
It's hard, like, nowadays, looking back and just realizing, like,
Uh-huh.
how massive of a deal the Road 2-4 was, because it is like, oh shit, like, basically from the final 13 on, it's like, that's the final four, that's the final four, that's the final four.
Yeah.
They are OP as fuck.
Which is
John
which is
Carroll's.
why you should watch in order.
Hmm.
You
Absolutely.
should watch in order for this. This is the
The
season that where it's
kids
like,
these
if you're like,
days.
you're on the fence.
it
You're
is
on the
like the
fence and
ne-
you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start with Cambodia, or I'm gonna start with Cagayan, or I'm gonna start with the Winners at War. Dude, just watch an order, man. You're gonna fucking love this shit.
Hmm.
either watch in order or watch whatever is currently airing on TV. That's what I always tell people.
Yeah. Yeah, watch season 49, everyone.
Yeah,
Rizzo.
yeah. Let's
official
watch. Let's
CBS sponsored podcast right here. We're
guys, let's
propaganda.
guys, let's watch fucking Jason from 49, right?
Cool. Ah, man.
yeah.
The
Let's go through our entire Ponderosa with our head in a video game. Sounds fun.
man. Yeah, but it's so interesting. Like we were saying, how I felt like this was the first, maybe not the first time, but there were kind of things that was normally rewarded on Survivor that, people like Hunter and Gina had. And they hard workers, athletic, felt like they were at least trying to, bond with everyone, and they fail at Survivor this early on, and it is quite remarkable, that downfall. And you see, like, the people that you'd normally sitting at home think, how did they survive? Boston Rob and Sean and Sarah, are constantly being called lazy, and they're not doing any work, which is, some of my favorite scenes are of Sean and Rob complaining about work. Especially when they go over to row two and Sean's talking about how
Oh my god, dude.
yeah, he's like,
Sean,
I
Sean and
I
Rob,
hear
Sean and Rob,
this is
Sean
so
and Rob on
funny.
Road to the generational heater.
Yeah, Sean's talking about how he hears the Roots theme and he's hear the master coming to
It's
make him
modern day,
work, and I'm
modern
like,
day
yo,
slavery.
yeah, he's called it slavery and shit. I'm
He's
just like,
called it modern
yo,
day slavery.
yeah.
I
And
think
Rob's
one
talking about
thing.
how it's a degree shy from hell, and they're like,
I
damn, the
love
girls
how
in our island had big boobs.
I love how, and I
I think
love how, for one, I love how Vesepia goes through that entire thing with them because she's on Maramu with them, and she's just as worthless as they are. And the same thing on Road 2, but she's just so like
Sh-
socially adept that nobody gives a shit.
she's just so
Like,
much.
she's
They
just
just
like,
all. I mean, that's
she,
she just.
I mean,
That's
her whole thing.
I think that's part of Vesepia's game too. Is that she's fully with Rob and Sean, but then she lets them take all the heat for being lazy, and then she just sits there like,
yes,
oh, so
correct.
much drama.
Too much
I,
drama.
I mean, that's her
Yeah,
whole. That's her whole thing, right? Like,
Hmm.
Yeah, that
she
is
um,
integrates like you were saying right when she
extremely
gets to
well.
camp, she's the one that's asking what the routine of Rotu is. She learns all their silly nicknames,
the
and
Yeah,
general.
jumping pots and pans.
yeah, like we learn about all those nicknames because Vesepia asks about them. The show could have showed, Gabriel or whoever coming up with them. And we get a little scene of Pascal saying that, he's Gabriel started calling him Pappies, so that's how we learned that one. But these other ones we learned because the show's showing us Vesepia is trying to integrate, trying to learn, and that pays off very well for her later.
She's probably she's probably putting them in her fucking journals.
Hmm.
She can
Yeah.
she can use them for touchy subjects later.
In
And
contrast,
final
like one of
tribal.
my favorite scenes, I guess, in the pre-merge is like when Sean just has Tammy serving him, and it's so good.
It's my favorite girl right here.
You guys are you guys are making me want to move Sean back up. Shit.
Dude, he's
Wait,
Back
so
to back
fucking
back to
good.
number sorry, not to spoil, but he's already very high, but like shit. Forget how funny Sean is all the time. He's just like constant gold.
He's hilarious. Uh,
yeah, I consistently think I have him too low, but I don't know who's moving past. But
Yeah, he is just so dang good.
we'll get to him
Okay,
more
let's
in
go
depth.
next year. We can yeah, I was gonna say we can get to the cast here soon.
Well,
I
Mhm.
there's a lot
there's
here.
a lot.
Of course, obviously we kind
Oh.
of covered the major one, which is like that this season was, pre 9/11 supposed to be in Jordan.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Obviously you have there's a whole lot of
And
conspiracy
a,
there's
a,
I
a
don't even know
lot
if
was
some of them are
done.
conspiracies. Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
A
there was
lot
a
was
lot
done for
to make this
Survivor
fun.
Arabia. Like they already
Yeah.
had a location, many challenges were done. Like all
Mhm.
they'd already had contracts with the government in Jordan and all of that. It was like really set to go. And when it all happened, Burnett called I think the Prince of Jordan at the time, and pretty much they were like, "Yeah, yo, you're calling because you're backing out, right?" Like they
Hmm.
they knew,
Yeah.
and the scramble to get Survivor Marquesas is a whole thing. If I remember, one of the big um, people in Burnett's camp, I think, had a local connection or something to the French Polynesia, and that's how
Do you
they were
think
able.
that do you think the connection was the dude of that their house, the dude who they tore the house down of and didn't rebuild?
Uh, speaking of,
Maybe. Oh,
Their
speaking
jeez.
of,
their connect their connection just had beef with some random dude who lived in a waterfall.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So yeah, it was such a rush job, Survivor Marquesas, and I think that's a big reason why Jeff talks about very negatively about season 4, either than Boston Rob.
Mhm.
Like, I think a lot of it is just because
It's
how
probably super stressful to put together.
yeah, super stressful to put together. And then also it must have been quite the letdown in the sense that, each survivor there had scaled up and up and up. And you have this vision for Survivor Arabia. It's going to be Lawrence of Arabia, Arabian Nights, so many cool things that could have and should have been done, and it's just ripped away. And on top of that, there also must have been fears about Survivor's popularity slipping because, like as we talked about in the Africa podcast, Survivor's popularity slipped um, after 9/11, and it was going down. There were still tons of viewers, but it wasn't at the peaks of those first 2 seasons. So who knew how
Mhm.
long they thought this gravy train would even last? And yeah, the multiple seasons a year.
Which is interesting because I think that them going back to the beach did basically gear up Survivor for
The long haul.
the fact that it's lasted for 50 seasons now.
Like
Yeah,
where?
Because I
they
think
proved they
if they
could
had
do
gone
it
to
on the beach again.
Also,
yeah,
like where?
if they had gone to Arabia, they would have just kept having to basically go up and up and up until they ran out of ideas, and the show would have ended,
Hmm.
Like
decades
there's
ago. Which many would argue would probably have been better, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know if I exactly agree with that, but like I do see the vision of that. I think a they were eventually gonna have to go back to a more beach or tropical location. Maybe
Yeah,
they do Thailand for 5 and they're like, okay, well this still works. But who
yeah.
knows?
If they well, they didn't like Thailand either. So maybe if
Yeah,
they got
that's a good point.
Thailand as their
well,
first back to the beach season, they would have been like,
Thai.
well,
I think Thailand's problem is mostly that is outside of the location.
People's
Ha-
Choice Award winner Survivor Thailand, by the way.
yeah,
I
all caps when you
mhm.
say the man name.
uh, I feel like I mean, this isn't really secrets, lore, and conspiracies since this is on the show, but the dead body that they find.
Well,
Oh
the,
yeah.
the the conspiracy is that they planted it, of course.
It's
Well,
it's the man who lived in the house, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I've always heard that because this was the first time that they didn't season 1 and season 3 they got to decide which camp they merge at. In season 2 they did the twist where they have to go to an all new camp. This one they were
Mhm.
told to go to Rotu camp, and if I remember correctly, there was a lot of problems about filming on Maramu Beach. Like that was
Yes.
I don't think they had the correct permits or deals with the government to film in that area. Some people think it's because of it was protected land because there's fucking skeletons and shit in it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they Marquesas must have just been a logistical nightmare, and it looks like they started filming before they even had
Also,
it all in a row
also to
yet.
be clear, to be clear, since we didn't like actually really say anything about it, when we mentioned the person whose house they tore down, it was that somebody was living basically on the land of right around Maramu Beach, right? And
I
in
think it
order
was
to film, they tore down
It
the
was row two.
house.
It was Rotu because it's the
Row
waterfall.
two. Sorry,
Mhm.
sorry. Yeah, it's right by the waterfall, and they tear down his house, then promise to compensate the guy, and then they never did.
Yeah, they had to spend that budget on materials for kites and popcorn for for the challenge the general wins.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing with the. I guess this connects back to Survivor Arabia. Obviously, the challenges are I very different from any other season. They're a little
They're
more
so
do it
charming. They're so
yourself.
charming.
Yeah. And there's a fair amount of repeats from Survivor Borneo. Of course, the final immunity
Mhm.
challenge, but also the opening immunity challenge is very similar to the opening of Survivor Borneo. Just as how the opening where they all start in a boat and. Have to raft out, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot
yes,
of similarities there.
they definitely went low budget on the
It
challenges. Obviously,
it
I think it's super
definitely
They had
charming.
to.
it def yeah, yeah.
The
And
fucking
like watching it after Africa, it definitely feels lower budget than
yeah.
Africa.
The fact that literally attracting a boat was an immunity challenge. It's like okay.
Hey, they had to find a way to make Marama win some challenge. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That fake ass challenge.
Maramu does win 3 out of the 5 challenges they compete in post
Yeah,
swap.
Yeah.
yeah, they win a challenge that starts with a foot race between Boston Rob and Paschal. Of course, it's John and the general fuck it up because like I guess they don't know how to fucking canoe or something. But and then that was like that. It was really interesting because Probst calls that challenge for Rotu initially, but then Rob isn't here. Like Kathy screams because the general didn't walk all the way up to put the flag in, and then the boat wasn't close enough to the chain or some shit. So it was kind of weird logistically, but it was nice because
Oh,
we were all rooting for Mararamu to win, so we didn't give a fuck that it was kind of jank as
yeah,
shit.
and it was rigged.
Yeah, yeah. I guess another secrets, lore, and conspiracies is that placement of the swap, or if there was ever going to be a swap, just like in Africa, Probe
Yeah.
says this was predetermined before y'all even stepped foot here. But do we believe him?
Mhm.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
No.
And
The thing
this
is that you
time,
can put that in basically any season with a swap or a merge or like anything. You can just put it on the secrets, lore, conspiracy, and be like, "Are Survivor producers being legitimate?" The
mhm,
answer is usually no.
I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
objectively,
nowadays, they are, because like
Oh, stop!
they shouldn't
They're
be.
they,
not
I
being
yeah,
ethical.
I mean it in a way that they are and they shouldn't be, because if they were smart, they would not have done a swap on 48.
yeah, that would have been
Oh,
way more
I
interesting.
didn't watch that one. Didn't watch that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a very interesting swap that I know a lot of people have criticized over the years. First of all, instead of Africa, where they swap after 4 episodes, they swap after 3, which is a little weird, but I guess you could say it is halfway through the pre-merge. So
Yeah, and
They
they're
maybe,
looking to
still
save Gina,
and they
honestly.
still swap at the uneven numbers, 8 and 5.
yeah, which I think
Yeah,
they
you
should
think
do every once in a while. I think that was
Hmm.
kind of interesting
I
that
do, yeah,
row two still
I
gets to
do
keep
love
8 people.
yeah, keeping the tribe numbers the same. I think that's a very fun twist on the swap. But obviously, it was about Jeff trying to save, his girlfriend. Who knows how much sway he had at the time. He wasn't executive producer yet, thankfully, but maybe he went in there and threw a tantrum until they decided to swap.
Yeah, that's something we need to talk about was
Jeff and Gina.
yeah, Probst was crushing on Gina, just like a lot of America, our watermelon spitting queen. Um, so yeah, that was kind of a little behind the scenes thing, and I know there's a conspiracy that after Mara Amu voted Gina out, they Jeff just like yelled and cussed at them for giving Gina false hope. Man, Jeff's protective over his crushes, so that's cute, I guess.
Did they end up
We'll get to
dating?
that in Van. I don't think
Problematic, one would say.
I don't think so, but we'll get to that in Vanuatu in a couple months.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about
Couple
with
years.
that in Vanuatu.
Oh.
Um, yep.
Um,
Another big conspiracy theory that I've heard John talk about is the placement of that coconut chop challenge. Like that was
Yeah,
specifically
of
placed
course.
to push Pappy and Aaliyah to flip. And I know
And
John
that
has
is
said it's because Burnett didn't want to have another gay winner, which like maybe
which is
like
so awesome.
what John?
Super awesome
Uh,
because honestly he's for one he's right. He's definitely right that they rigged the fuck out of that challenge to put it there. Like this is so fucking obvious. Like half them don't even fucking work properly. The thing was set up in like 2 minutes.
yeah, the visual of the coconuts falling is just weird, and it looks super fucking jank, which is
Super
like a lot of
rushed
these
because they
challenges.
It looks
it's
very edited in post.
100% correct that they just threw that challenge there to try and like basically like
Force
force
Pappy's hand.
force the five into realizing, or force all of them into basically going, oh, you know what, maybe we should all get together and do that. But it's the fucking assertion that he just did want another gay winner is awesome, and you know what, I'll buy it. Why not? It's
Yeah,
Mark Burnett, so
it is
yeah, you know
Mark
what, I kind
Burnett.
of buy it.
And that leads to another conspiracy theory about how they don't cast any more gay people on seasons with Boston Rob because he'll be homophobic to them.
Homophobic to them.
um,
Which I
that's
don't know if I believe that one, but like,
that's the reason Richard Hatch isn't on season 40, right?
yeah, that's the big one.
That's
yeah,
the only reason.
absolutely. And I mean, I guess Parv doesn't count.
Yeah, we didn't know Parv at the time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, maybe they wouldn't cast Parv.
And
Nah, I don't know. From all we know, from information at the time, I know John and Rob both did talk about at the time, and Rob called John after that episode aired, and they talked about it, and John has said Rob was very apologetic, and it was a very eye-opening moment for him. So
Mm-hmm. And
seems like there's no beef there in that sense, but
uh-huh.
it
I know
still is interesting that no one on like Redemption Island and no one on Heroes versus Villains was
And and
gay. Yeah,
All Stars, I guess there is.
well
Because
there's
yeah.
Thanks for mentioning
There's
There's
Patch.
Richard,
Richard.
there's
but you
There's
can't do
Hatch.
that
Richard.
season without Richard. And
Mhm.
Boston Rob's kind of weird to be there anyway, so we should just be happy he's there. Kind of deal.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
You can't.
John. I know around at the time of the second chance ballot, someone asked John like, "Yo, how are you with Rob?" And he's like, "Man, I don't know. I'm still uncomfortable about the whole thing." And then he replied to his own comment 5 months later, and he's like, yeah, I just hung out with Boston Rob, and we're starting a charity."
Yeah,
Rob was Rob was young, to be fair. Like, and that
Yeah,
it's also
Very, very.
2001.
he was like 24,
yeah. Rob was a pretty young guy.
young enough
I
to
It,
where they
think
wouldn't cast
Sarah
him on the
was
show
the
now.
a
it was 2001, I think, is the bigger factor here. And
Hmm.
I think I
from
guess
Boston. Number two.
You know, he was probably the least homophobic Bostonian at the time.
Yeah, they might have
That
had a
was
couple there in
that was
casting finals, and they were like, "Let's. How about the least problematic one? We'll put on the show." Oh my
least
gosh.
problematic Patriots fan.
Man.
and
Yeah,
then
that's
and then
good.
if
Oh, you go.
you actually well, I was going to move on to another topic if you wanted to continue
Oh,
in
this
this.
is another big conspiracy. Is
But
the final tribal council having to be reshot? Have y'all heard about that
I
one?
Mm,
have.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy theory that I think I think I've heard John say it before on Survivor Oz or something, but they initially did Final Tribal Council, and the jurors were mostly at kind of peace with it. No one other than Sean and Pascal were particularly like enthused to vote for anyone, and so they pretty much just gave them fairly softball questions and just kind of got on with their day. But it ended, and Burnett and Probst like reamed them out and was like, "That was terrible. There was no fireworks. There was no action." And Vecepia and Aaliyah were pretty much just being avoidant to every question, also being asked towards them, and
Of
the
course.
because especially Vecepia, a great player, and Aaliyah is just kind of dumb,
Hmm.
but
Doing her thing.
doing her thing. Yeah, 24 days. But so yeah, apparently they reshot it. And I think that's kind of why we get a little bit of that disconnect. Why like I feel like maybe Sean and Pascal's speech was from that first take. And then like someone's speech
Could be.
like Tammy's or John's or even fucking Zoe's feels like maybe that's from that second tape after Burnett and
I
Probst were
don't
like,
think.
all right, give them some fucking fireworks.
Yeah, Sean's first of all super impressive. If Tammy's is just off the cuff, second take, just throw that shit together. Second of all, I do think Sean's is definitely from the second take because I actually buy this. I do think that they reshot it because it just seemed a little bit off compared to the first three. Like there is just a little bit more like, oh, this feels a little bit like weird. But Sean like directly addresses Tammy's speech, and obviously he's the one that goes right after her. So I think that his is
Oh,
probably from the
Hmm.
same take.
that's a good point because yeah, he
Like,
talks about how he
yeah,
doesn't like how people use religion as like a catch-all to kind of put people
yeah.
down and all. Yes,
I'd
that's a really good point.
yeah, I'd heard that obviously that Final Chopper was reshot. I heard it was reshot due to the microphones not catching anything.
Oh,
Which could
maybe.
also be true.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's conspiracy for a reason. Oh, and that speaking of tribal council, that if I love that tribal council set with the ocean in the background.
Ooh,
Oh,
It's
it's so
so good.
beautiful, isn't it?
it's
So
gorgeous.
good. And I feel like that was something that was a last minute thing also because like all of it was. They had a group of locals, they were just like, please design something, and they designed it with that in mind to have the ocean in the background, and that's really cool.
Hmm.
Oh, and we gotta talk about the Purple Rock conspiracy theory.
That's the one I
Um,
was
Oh, yeah.
gonna
Of
go
course.
to.
go
Yeah.
for it, Lights.
Well, obviously, in the previous seasons when there was a tie, it was either the past votes, and if there were none, it was the nature quiz in Africa, and famously Dr. Carl. And then there's no tie in Marquesas until the final four. And then I'm not sure if they knew it was coming. I'm pretty sure they did not. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in this
No,
case,
you're correct. They did
yeah.
not know what was
Mhm.
coming. Kathy directly says, "Give me the questions," and then Jeff says, "Oh, we haven't discussed the tiebreaker yet."
Mhm.
And then it's just this essentially rock draw. And it's like, at that point, it's anyone's game. And in this case, unlike the future iterations of the rock draw, which doesn't show up for 23 seasons, there's it doesn't remove the people who got the vote. And there's just so many things that's like, was it rigged for Pascal? Was it not? Like,
They
Um,
didn't want Pascal to win.
exactly. And
They didn't want that old bigot to win. Woke Viber.
Yeah, it was interesting because I,
Mhm.
I I think this is the only time where the most interesting scenario happened with a rock draw. The three times it happened in Survivor. Like I think the
Yes,
most
correct.
Mhm.
the person leaving was the one that let the game the most wide
Mhm.
open.
Yeah,
Um,
and
'Cause
this is the only time where it should have, well, in future seasons, this specific scenario is a fire making, but at the time, there's no precedent for a fire making. And so this is really probably the only thing they had planned. And I guess like because in future iterations of this, it's all more than four people around. So
Yeah,
there's a lot more it's lower leverage to begin with. Like
Mhm.
and
yeah,
It's definitely thrown together, much like
mhm,
everything on this season. I think they just
yeah.
threw together that tiebreaker, and probably over the 23 seasons, until you get the second one, um, they ironed out the details. I wonder how many times they actually like changed the rule on that before they actually got another rock draw. I'm like, oh, this is when this happens, and this is
yeah.
when that happens. Like they,
Because in All
they had
Stars,
what is it like? They got when did Blood versus Water air? 2013 or something.
Uh-huh.
Like
Hmm.
they had like 11 years. They
Mhm.
had over a decade to change the
Yeah,
rules as much as they wanted until it happened
and it's
again. So
interesting because like even in like All Stars, you get to that final four where it looks like it's two duos, Rob and Amber, Jenna and Rupert. And that's what Jenna is talking about, and that's what Rob's talking about. They're all talking about we don't want it to come to a rock draw. And that's why Jenna ultimately flips. So it's like, when did they change that rule, or were they waiting until
were
until
they
we
even
got to a
letting people
deadlock?
know? Yeah,
There
yeah.
there's
Yeah,
there is
because Palau is
literally
the first time that happens when
there's
at that
And do
final
you
four.
literally
think and do you think that the only reason that they did fire making was because the first time it happens is, a completely different situation. Like
Yeah.
in Palau, like they're not getting down to the final four where it has to be fire making. It's because Steph and Bobby John are the only ones left, and so they
Yeah,
have to do fire making. And then they get down. It's a whole butterfly effect because then it's like, oh, you get down to the final four, now you fire making instead of a rock draw. Who knows?
yeah. They're
Up
like, we
until
already had
Steph and
that
Bobby
shit set
John,
up from Steph and
yeah,
Bobby John. We might as
exactly,
well let
exactly.
Ian and
A
and
whole
Jen do it.
butterfly.
it's crazy. It's that there are literally no tie votes after the purple rock until Oolong, which is a
It
whole
it worked. Yeah,
yeah.
that's always been my thing. Is I'm like, it worked. It
It
scared
scared
so many
people.
people because
Mhm.
tie votes were so prevalent in Outback. They were so prevalent in Africa. We got one on the first
Africa,
season, but
yeah.
yeah, those really shaped those seasons. Were those tie votes? So they found a way to do that and punish the players for not doing their main
Which is
function, which
good.
is
Which
you
is
know
which is good. That is a good one of the good format changes. Like punishing people for not being able to make a decision is a good survivor change.
yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
And I
Oolong
know
just doesn't know any better and fucks it up anyways.
Mhm.
Yes.
yeah, because I know a lot of people at the time and even now say it was unfair to Pascal because he had no past votes, and they even mention it um, at when Pascal draws the rock. Before they draw the rock, they're like, well, now Pascal was dragged into this, and he wasn't even voted for. But
Yeah.
he still could have decided, all right, well, I guess Nalia gets to go. So you still have agency. So you still make a decision to put your damn hand in that bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I don't really feel like it's unfair. Like, it definitely sucks for Pascal, but
Also
yeah,
to be clear, not Pascal didn't have any votes against him at that trial. He had no votes against him, period. He went out
Yep.
of the game with no votes ever cast against him. Just to be
dude,
clear to anybody who hasn't actually watched the season, he never got a vote.
dude, Pascal's something else, man.
Doesn't he like beat everyone at Final Tribal? Doesn't he like win every
Yeah, very,
combo?
very easily. Very
I
easily.
I think there's a pretty good chance he beats everyone, maybe even Kathy.
Besides Kathy. Kathy would give him a fight. But I think Pascal beats Kathy too, just because of like sexism.
Oh no.
Pascal is gonna make like the greatest speech ever about the American flag, and and
Dude,
and especially in,
he,
in this
pulls out
post
the
9/11
costume that he
world.
used.
I hope so. Yeah,
He pulls out the costume.
he uses for the SOS challenge.
He's gonna
Yeah.
sleep with one of the jurors and rig it against Kathy.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
another good idea.
Pascal's gonna whip it out, but this time
He's gonna
he's not
sleep
gonna
with
have a
sleep
Noticing.
with Jeff Probst. He's gonna sleep with the judge.
Uh,
fair and consistent judge, man.
Maybe Mark Burnett might have more influence at this time.
Yeah,
True,
um,
true.
yeah,
I feel like
but
the
yeah,
last thing to maybe mention if we're running out of secrets, lore, and conspiracies is I think this was brought up to me recently that production outed John to Boston Rob before everything happened.
oh, I didn't
This
know that. I just
That
that's a conspiracy. That's not that's
that is a
don't think that is
conspiracy.
actually backed by anything, but it is a conspiracy that exists. Yes,
Hmm.
it's because people think that Boston Rob isn't smart enough to actually like figure out that John Carroll is gay.
did they out that Zoe was gay? Because people forget that he also made jokes about Zoe being gay.
Yeah,
The toughest guy here.
other guy here. Yep.
Yeah. So
I think that
yeah.
should cover
I
that.
Yep. One last thing before we get into the characters, that I forgot to mention, but I think is important, and is the love tribe. It
Hmm.
kind of gives some
Oh
context
yes,
to
yes,
the
yes,
love
yes.
tribe. Especially in this,
Very important.
yeah, post 9/11, which just happened right before these people were selected to be on the show. So
Hmm.
they're leaving a nation in turmoil. And so there was, for a lot of people that weren't there was this big sense of, this post 9/11 kind of
Camaraderie.
I guess, yeah, camaraderie, but also kind of like forced optimism. I'm trying to think of a great word for it, but just the culture around after 9/11. And I think that was a big thing in this love tribe. And and probably a big reason why
Collectivism,
Pascal,
maybe.
yeah, that's a good word for it too. Um, I think that's a something Pascal does a really good job of showing off too. And like when Pascal talks about the American flag and how patriotic
Yeah.
is, and it's a wonderful symbol to what this group is about. I and then they use the American flag in the SOS challenge. Pascal also says, "I don't care where in the world you are. When you see it, you recognize it. And if this won't win us the challenge, nothing in the world could." And even
Very, very heavy handed. Very heavy handed.
and then of course the it was a big deal that Survivor Marquesas finale was in New York, because there was a pretty big effort to start filming in New York again, not let the film industry die over there. So, it being filmed at Central Park was a huge deal, and that was really cool.
Hmm.
And we had of course, it sounds really cheesy nowadays, but if you watch Probst taking the votes over from Marquesas Central Park, New York, he makes a stop by the Statue of Liberty in his helicopter and
Statue of Liberty, yes, he
the
does.
American flag, and we get the patriotic music. So it like has a moment of silence, like a genuine, just like moment of silence and reverence. And so yeah, I think that was very heavy on the minds of a lot of the people out there, and I think that explains,
Fucking
you know,
Bush.
even like someone like Gabriel Cade, who his whole thing out there was, you know, building a society and living together in peace, and you know, he wasn't there to play the
Obviously,
game. He was there to,
yeah.
you know, create this love and, you know, see what a group of people that get together and put their minds to something can accomplish.
I'm here for
So
what we had.
That's what I
yeah,
thought you were gonna go for when you first talked about the Love Tribe, is like how it leads to like the Gabriel boot, which is obviously like the most important boot of like the entire season besides John, which is also true. Like how close the Rotu tribe got, and then you swap, and then their first tribal council they immediately like turn on their own is hugely important to like the
Mhm.
fall of the Rotu Four, obviously.
Yeah. We see Paschal cry about it. Like he genuinely,
Yeah.
they're in shock. And Paschal is saying how he has never had a son, but if he had a son, he'd want him to be like Gabriel. And he's reading the poem Gabriel wrote for him. And Nalia is comforting him while Paschal is like actively crying that they put it out Gabriel.
Dude, he's
Hmm.
the 2020s men who have like the mullets and the mustache, no beard, performative males. They could learn so much from Pascal, bro.
Dude, Paschal cries a lot in this season. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
he
I just
tears
don't
up.
know how much of it is. I just don't know how much of it is real.
He tears up during the tribe swap. When when you know, the tribe swap happens and they all hug afterwards, you can look at Pascal. He is actively tearing up because he's leaving,
Yeah.
you know, that group of people he had and going to a scary new camp, and probably also thinks, well, shit, I'll lose Survivor. Now I'm on
I'm
this tribe with all
every
women.
losing every challenge.
Even though later Pascal will say that him and all women is heaven on earth.
Heaven on earth.
Two
That
separate
is what he
times.
says.
Yeah. Ah, what a guy. But yeah, no, that whole love tribe thing, and they actively like dissected, and you have, you know, Sean saying it's in Kathy, and other people, Rob, talking about how they feel like it's phony or this and that, or how John's trying to use it as an angle for his game or something. I think that's just a very, very interesting way to look at Road
Hmm.
to, and it's
Yeah,
it's characterized very well. And
of course.
Kathy has this great confessional where um she says, you know, being on Road to, they have this, you know, this peculiar act of, you know, kissy kissy love and I love you, but guess what? Well, when we go into the next tribal council, you're out. You know, so
Hmm.
how could a love tribe exist in a game that's inherently cutthroat?
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right. Are we ready to finally get to the cast?
I think we
Let's do
are.
it.
All
Let's
right.
rock and roll.
So, I mean, obviously, as we know, this is how we do this on here is everyone sends me their rankings of the cast ranked from worst to best, and I put them together and make them in an average. So we've got all four of us and Kyle, who could not make it today. His averages count in for this. Um, Also, we
Gone
have
but
the
not forgotten.
gone but not forgotten. He'll be back for the next one. Trust us, he'll be back for the next one. But we also, with every single one of these,
Yeah.
include the poll results from our friend Regnesiak's 1 through 10 polls that rank where you can rate every single character in Survivor history
Yeah.
on a 0 to 10 scale. And
They will
this.
be in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Please take the pulls, and also please join the Discord and talk your shit with the rest of us. We have a fun time talking about Survivor.
Absolutely. And maybe you could get on one of these podcasts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're actively trying and failing to get any alumni's attention to get on these podcasts. So
The Jet is on the next one. I got you.
yes,
Maybe not these, but some other type of podcast, yes.
All right, big joke, big joke.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's dig into this cast.
All right. No surprise as to who should be in last here. Who I think is by default like the worst of the cast. It is Patricia Jackson.
Mama.
Very
Oh,
actually very overhated slash underrated.
Overhated for sure.
I think she is a
she's a good.
Um,
very
like if you're looking at like the all time placement, like you see like 708, you're like, oh, you know, whatever. You especially for the majority of Survivor fans who just haven't watched this season, you're like, oh, it's just whatever. This is a very like good character in her own right. Like she is the very easy consensus worst of this cast, unfortunately, but like in her own right, very much like a net positive character because of the lore, with Sean at the reunion as at one point, but also like
Oh,
this
geez,
is the
forgot to bring that
setup.
up.
hmm
Well, this goes here more than like a secret. It's not a secret. It
It's not
happens, but
really a conspiracy, it's a truth.
yeah,
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 it
it
she
happened.
definitely happened.
Trisha says it
Uh,
happened too. So
she
I guess
gave
let's talk about it now, and then we'll talk about Patricia
okay,
on the
yeah.
show.
So anyway, so she after the reunion, she gives Sean a Confederate flag, just as a gift, just as a fun gift between Mara Amu tribe members.
I listened to her Survivor Oz while I was driving not too long ago, and she was like, "Yeah, he was always talking about how proud he was to be black and about Black history and this, and that." And I wanted to give him a piece of Black history, remind him about. I was like, "What?"
what the fuck?
She was like, "I don't think he took any offense to it. His family laughed, he laughed." But then Sean on Survivor Oz is like, "Yeah, Patricia's the only person from that cast I don't really care to to see again, and that I think negatively about."
I wonder why.
And he's like, "Because she did that shit." She's like,
Anyway, to get
"But
back to her on the show, because as much as it is a hilarious anecdote, like obviously it's awful, but it's a hilarious anecdote. On the show, very much like a net positive character to me in
Yeah.
terms of like all-time placement, and like her average just like very clearly lower than it should be just because of off-show actions, or just because people are just like, I don't really remember this character.
yeah,
This
She
is the
Mama."
setup.
Mhm.
hmm
Basically, this is the setup to Hunter Ellis leaving the game.
Mhm.
Basically, like this is not only where Hunter loses the game in its main right, obviously where he just loses the numbers, but like the idea of Patricia is like basically one step from Hunter, because the reasons that Patricia gets booted are the exact same reasons that Rob and Sean and Sarah all band together and boot Hunter. So she
Yeah.
is basically in her own right. She's the episode before setup to being like, hey, by the way, you should really recognize the parallels between her and Hunter because we're about to hit you in the gut next episode.
Yeah. And that's what's so great too, is it's not even like immediately apparent because you can sell Patricia as just being, the oldest one there, the woman, the weakest one there, you know? So, yeah, you see a lot, especially after that first tribal council. They're saying, Patricia made it past one tribal council and Patricia, she's starting to act like herself and she's ordering people around and, um, telling people don't leave the machete here. This is the tree where you put all the tools and
hmm
Yep.
Fights with
and
Boston
she's
Rob.
nagging. Yeah,
It is a it is
nasty.
it,
They put suntan lotion on her.
it is a crazy contrast from Patricia from episode 1 to episode 2, which I think is really well
Mhm.
done. Like episode 1, she's pretty much characterized as kind of the old lady. Like she's not really doing a whole lot, and then potentially to like get by, but by episode 2, you clearly see how she actually is in real life.
Yeah.
Like she's a truck driver. Like she's a
Mhm.
blue collar, work hard type of person. And
Yeah,
like it's very clearly defined in how she fits with the Hunter and the Ginas, and it, as you guys said, like I don't think it's as particularly deep and like there's a ton here, but I think we've gone to what there is to talk about Patricia on the show.
yeah, and she's talking about work needs to get done. If someone won't step up to the plate, I will. I don't mind telling people. something that they have to, get work done. And yeah, it's so great because now we get all these great reactions from Sean and saying, Mama's got to telling us to work. Mama can't sit down. And, Sarah and Vecepia are saying, we don't need a mama or a daddy out here. We're adults and all this great stuff. So, yeah, I think it's a very good arc and a very serviceable, good second boot.
Yeah.
Very
And
concise second boot.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
very concise that
She gets the
sets up the
job
next episode really
done.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
And
love what Sarah
she's
said.
not at all
Oh,
boring either. Like she's
No.
solidly an entertaining
This
presence on the
And
season.
that, I mean, that's why I have her at 15 over someone who I would consider those descriptors.
yeah,
We'll get to
uh,
that soon. I can't imagine this person's that much higher.
yeah. I love Rob says sometimes mom is a pain in the butt, but sometimes she's there when you need her. And I also love Sarah at that tribal
Quote
council.
machine.
Yeah, where Sarah's like, I'm 24 years old. My mom hasn't told me what to do in 8 years. And I'm just like, holy shit, yo, you're not that young.
Did you forget how to do math?
Yeah, I'm like,
Did you move out at 16? Did you,
yeah, I don't know. I was like, dude,
or is there something a little more tragic here?
maybe I don't know her backstory all that well, but she also mentions how she works 16-hour days back home and she didn't come out here to do that. She came out here to meet cool people and preserve her energy for the challenges. So like, you know,
Yo, Sarah, my goat. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. So yeah, Mama's cool. My favorite Mama on Survivor. The first time someone voted out their mom, gotta
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Can't
at the
believe
time,
we're two blood versus water mentions deep into this
oh
this
my
podcast.
goodness. I will say though, I don't think it was really obviously apparent at the time that that was a alliance that Rob, Sean, Sarah, and Vecepia together versus Hunter, Gina, and Patricia. Especially because that first vote was so chaotic. It was like a 5 to, I think it was like a 4 to 2, 5 to 2 to 1 or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was the Peter
Yeah,
Harkey
it's
boot.
multiple people get votes. I think that's mostly
Uh,
just because because Peter doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
well, no, it's the people who are voting wrong in that tribal are Vecepia and Sean.
Yeah, they vote Sarah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they vote Sarah, and then Peter votes Patricia.
Yeah,
Patricia,
so
you
it's one of
deserve
those
to
things where like
stay.
in
And it's
yeah.
only later that Rob really pulls that group together. Well, that's what's really
Mhm.
shown.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Patricia.
Mhm.
One last thing that I'm reminded of because I just saw the episode is Vecepia has one of my favorite lines of hers in the season where they're doing the Final Four Fallen Comrades challenge, which we didn't even mention in Conspiracy and Lore that Vecepia broke that challenge and they never did that again because she wrote down all the people's stuff so she could study as she went along. But Paschal, he's talking about how they should all share with each other so it can be fair at the challenge, and so they should pool information together. Even though like Paschal also has a confessional about how he hopes anyone but Vecepia wins it. so, so how fair is that? Y'all try to pool knowledge together so you can prevent Vecepia to win. But anyways, Paschal asks, "Well, where's Miss Patricia from?" And Vecepia is like, "I don't know. I think it begins with like an L or something." And then it cuts to a confessional of Vecepia where she's like, I know where Miss Patricia's from. She's like, that's why I said it began with an L to him because it doesn't. I'm like, damn.
Well,
She
So
we'll
yeah,
cooked.
we'll
she
get
cooked.
into a lot of Vecepia
Yeah,
at a later time.
yeah,
We saw it on Patricia.
yep. Let's
Yeah.
Yeah.
see who's next.
All right, next up we got Zoe Zadadakis.
Oh,
what a fascinating human
character.
Oh
This
my
is a
being.
god,
character.
her eyes, her presentation. Oh my god, I dig them.
I think this is like the example of a character that I'm gonna look at and I'm gonna say Survivor was just different back in the day. Like you can look at, your confessional counts or whatever, and you can see that Zoe has like what is it, four
Hmm.
confessionals all season, and just be like, oh, this is a nothing character. This is your whoever the fuck from like your 30 Survivor who's just not even in the fucking season. But like Zoe is there every episode. She's present. She's involved in all the storylines. She's fun. She's funny. She
Yeah.
has,
Hmm.
quotables. Like I can tell you more about Zoe with, four confessionals and however much like screen time average or whatever the hell we're doing. Like
Hmm.
I think I know
I can
more
tell
I
you
think
about.
you're
more than I can tell you
amazing,
about
Zoe.
so many
I think
characters.
I think I know more about Zoe than I know about Sam Phelan, and he got like a
Yeah.
hundred
Yeah,
confessionals.
I don't agree
yeah.
with that at all, but we'll get. I'm not going into that. I'm not getting into the Sam Phelan debate in the Marquesas podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those
Leave
for
that
those
leave that for
unaware,
5 years from now for the 47 podcast.
for those unaware, a few of us at one point had a pretty hefty Sam Phelan debate, but
Yeah. So let's get back to someone who I find amazing,
mhm.
Zoe.
Zoe. I
Who
find you amazing, Zoe.
she there's a
And
lot of
again,
great, yeah, Zoe scenes. Like for whatever reason, Boston Rob, I guess, and Kathy have a lot of confrontations with Zoe, maybe because they think she's the easiest one to break in that
mhm.
alliance.
and
And Zoe's so,
to be fair, she does break.
yeah,
She does
correct
vote for
call.
John at the John
Yeah.
boot.
Yeah, and that's ultimately why a big reason Zoe goes is because she's such a flake and she's not being honest. Like the general at that tribal council has this great line about how the people that were nobodies in this game have evolved into some really great players and left some of us in the dust, but some of us are denying our old allegiances and and then it cuts to Zoe.
Yeah, he
Yes,
cooks. He cooks her.
yeah. But in all fairness, they didn't have an alliance, they had a friendship.
Yeah,
Which is one of
which
my
is why
favorite.
she made. Which is why she made the. Which is why she made the friendship bracelets. So this is her
Wow.
next new friendship.
Zoe is so fucking hilarious because it's so like just
Yeah,
transparent and like everyone knows that like she was down with the row 2-4 and this and that. She's just not admitting to any of it. And
it is
she's
shocking that she was chosen. She was chosen as one of the four in the first place.
I think it's one of those things where like I think the big three were
Yeah, of
Tammy,
course. The
John, and the
general.
general. And then just the way the
Yeah,
swap worked out, they were like,
It,
well, fuck, I guess it's got to be
probably.
Zoe
Yeah.
or Gabe.
it will definitely not Gabe.
Yeah.
So it was like,
And
well,
Gabe
it's
is like
Zoe.
even more of a flake. So I guess it has to be fucking Zoe Sacadanis.
Fucking
Well,
that I is
Zoe's
I
lying
know.
to me. They're all lying to me.
I mean, I know Zoe is just like a terrible liar and a terrible survivor player, but is Zoe the only Greek player of all time?
Isn't
there
Tony
has
No,
Greek?
Oh
Tony.
yeah,
yes,
Tony,
Tony.
Tony, Tony.
there has
I keep
That's
for,
a Mount
I
Rushmore.
I keep forgetting Tony is white.
He's a
what?
landlord and a cop. What else would he be?
Yeah.
Okay,
Zoe's
I
biggest crime is not liking someone's eyes and they're not really digging them and their whole presentation.
I do
And then I
I d-
love how once John Carroll goes, Tammy just drops the act of pretending to like Zoe and be like, "Yo, Zoe's a bitch."
Well,
Yeah.
Zoe tells her that shit first, though, because she's
she
trying
does.
to distance herself.
Zoe does start that, but I think my main issue with Zoe is she is really not like everything you've talked about her, like the stuff with Kathy and Rob, and then the stuff with Tammy in her boot episode. That's really the last two episodes Zoe is there. The first six episodes, Zoe is a non-factor completely.
What about
Like,
what about when she eats the Snickers from Jeff?
is that are
I
are
think
you telling me that is a factor?
I think
Yes,
the fact
yes.
that I think
That is a more memorable moment than so many other characters get. Come on now.
I think that is a I think a lot of the appeal for Zoe for me, because I don't think she is at all the most notable character ever. She's just like kind of obviously such a shitter, and it's really funny.
She's such a weirdo. Yeah,
Hmm.
she's such a shitter and such
Yeah,
a weirdo that,
and
like,
and
she's
to be
always making
very
little
clear,
comments during these challenges and stuff.
yeah, to be very clear, she's not the world's most prominent character. She's not the world's best character. I have her ranked
No,
15th for the season.
no,
But like,
my argument for this is more I think Patricia is a more clearly characterized and well-defined character than
mm,
Zoe is.
I do
I,
think that
I
even
could
if
say
you
that.
only give her the
Yeah.
two, if you give her the, even if you only give her the 2 episodes, and I think that's a totally fair point, to be clear. Like, even if you only give her the 2 episodes, she is such a catalyst for like great content between True Lies, because obviously, like, you have the amazing stuff in True Lies, which is spawned by, Rob making her a target, basically. And then, her boot episode. Like, if you only give her those 2 episodes, she's still such a she's a catalyst for such great content that I would still appreciate her a lot, even if she was just in those 2 episodes, because that's great stuff. And you need to have
Yeah,
like an actual target to make those things work.
I
yeah.
guess I do agree. I do wish I cared a little more about the target because I don't really have any reason to care about that Zoe's there compared to, well, I guess the comparison I've been making the whole time is Patricia, but
Yeah. She's a
Yeah.
seafaring woman.
Yeah, she is.
And
Lives on a
I
course
love during
her
the during
lives
her
the
on
SOS
her
air.
challenge. They during the SOS challenge, the general says that he's like, I don't think we have the most creative team doing it because I think it was Sean, Rob, Vesepia, and Zoe. But he was like, but Zoe is a seafaring woman, so she will know how to attract a boat.
Yeah. And of course we can't forget her iconic final tribal council performance, which
I was
is an
there. We
all-timer
were
for
all
me. An
there.
all-timer. All-time great content for me. What is,
Dude, are you
again,
gonna talk about the
so
lying and the
transparent.
backstabbing?
So transparent, trying so hard to like sell t-shirts or whatever the hell the plan was.
Work hard, play hard, Zoe. Ah man, it's
That's her
so in the
catchphrase.
V is not for victory tonight.
Yeah,
Nalia is the
Nalia
survivor.
is the survivor.
I mean, it's the most Zoe thing ever that it
Noted.
doesn't even win. Like it's so much funnier that Nalia doesn't
Man,
win.
Nalia doesn't even win the game. Just imagine writing that on your final vote and then they don't even win the game. She wanted to be the final vote reveal so bad.
Which is hilarious too, because Zoe, if you know anything about her backstory, she's from like an island off Maine that didn't even have like television.
Yeah.
Like this is someone who has seen zero Survivor. Like a lot of these early castaways applied just because of how big of a phenomenon it was, not even
Without even
because they
watching it.
particularly liked the show. It was just such a big deal, and the concept is really interesting, but a lot of them, and probably why a lot of them got
Yeah,
cast is
these
because they were
people
more interesting
these
than just
people
being a
want to be yeah, these people want to be famous. They don't want to be returnees on Survivor.
yeah, that and the interesting concept, and it's an adventure. Like you will even see a lot of people in this season talk about the adventure elements of Survivor, even though they're just back on an island.
Mhm.
So yeah, Zoe is just what we get from
Unique.
her. I do think is hilarious. She's just such a weirdo. I love when she dances on the at that first individual immunity challenge. She dances on the damn platform, being goofy and yeah, I just
Yeah.
find her amazing. So
She's she's Zoe. All right, next. All right, next up, we have another member of the Road to 4, Rob
No.
DeCanio, the General.
oh, go the general.
Oh my God, I remember like almost 3 years ago now when we did the first marathon rank down and we let the
Yes,
General
I was
almost
gonna say
get to
top
top
two.
200, and we
What do
just
you mean
spent a
let?
solid
He
half
is.
hour. We just spent a solid half hour laughing, repeating the General over and over again.
Yeah,
the
because he
general
is that
is
good.
is such a funny nickname.
Great
For a guy
nickname.
that's like not even in the military or anything. This motherfucker is
No,
just like a cab driver.
Great tattoo.
Just a
I mean,
guy.
look at the you can't see the whole tattoo in the picture, but just look at the tattoo. That is a picture of a of a limo driver, which is his job, smoking a cigar, acting hard with the title "The General" underneath
I'm
it. Just
I'm
he's
I'm
just
pretty
an awesome person to be there.
I'm pretty sure Zoe said he's a stoner, like post
Nalia
it.
did.
Yeah, it makes
Nalia
sense.
did, but yes, he
Or
is.
Dude, I want to smoke some weed with General,
Yeah,
bro.
I,
That'd be a
I
great
wanna
time.
I wanna smoke
the
weed with the
dream
general.
vault rotation right there.
The fucking
Yeah.
general.
Okay, to actually talk about him on the show though, I think this is like, we can joke and meme like general top 200
I
in the
love his
marathon, but like
voice.
this is a very good character in my
He's
opinion.
he's got a lot of
Like,
nice like just like the New York accent and all that. Like he's just like whenever he pops up on screen, like I know it like haha the general funny like kind of a shit or whatever, but like whenever the guy just like does everything, it's just a natural he's just a naturally funny guy.
and I think
just
that they really do they do kind of strike on having some really good content with him. He's a minor character. He's a very obvious side character, but that doesn't mean that they don't do fun things with him.
Mhm.
Like harping on his very obvious insecure, like, very insecure idea of masculinity is, in its own way, like an interesting concept because they haven't really done that with a character yet on Survivor. Like really harping on like this dude is a super like insecure in his own masculinity, like with the pink and the
Mhm.
Rob's comments about him and everything, like they really do harp on it, and that is a fun idea for a character, even if it is minor. And then that's not including like you don't have the final five episode, which many would correctly argue is like the greatest episode in Survivor history, without the general putting that idea in Kathy's head episode before, basically spending his entire boot episode like making her paranoid about what exactly happens in the final five episode.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
General is really good post in that stretch of episodes post the
Yes,
flip
he is.
where he's talking about his reckoning. And I love how he always conceptualizes like I'm gonna be here till the end of the game. But I'll just be on the jury, so it'll come back around. And they call him the bull in the
Mhm.
china shop, and he's all like pissed off one way or another. They almost vote him out over Zoe because they just think he has a bad attitude
Mhm.
about
yeah.
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Mhm.
Which I
And
mean
then
like can you blame him?
and then after that he's like, "Oh, maybe if I catch a pig."
Hype, fucking hype. Ah, man.
And
I
it's the
Do
the
you think that spells poorly based on the past people on Survivor who have caught pigs before the general?
oh no.
Oh
well
no.
well
Well, the
he
general
did.
didn't succeed, so
Yeah, the way he was trying to
True,
catch
true.
that pig is like the most convoluted shit. It was like just hanging a shit ton of ropes and whatever off a tree.
mhm. Yeah. We also have the episode where the general saves himself from elimination by winning immunity, which is just kind
Which
of
is
insane.
awesome.
It's kind of sick. But I also love it because he talks about how he knows that because he won, Tammy's going to be the vote, you know,
Yep.
um, which
Mhm.
I think is an interesting thing to reckon with the fact that, like, oh, wow, I'm safe, but
My
now
only
my
friend.
closest
Yeah.
ally is fucked because I'm safe. It's not even, they don't even have a choice anymore. They're gonna vote her off. Um, yeah, and I also like that early scene where he slices his foot open, like just a bunch of
Ooh, yeah,
early
that's a good one.
injuries at Road to. Everyone remembers all of John's because John has a couple and one really famous one, but I think the Generals is really good. It's when they have to do the raft challenge and Probst drops off the bamboo, and while they're carrying it, like a rock gets stuck under the
Yeah,
general's
stuck
in
between
between his
his sandal.
toes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it slices his foot. And John has to do first aid on him, and he says, he can take the pain. And General's freaking the fuck out when he cleans it and rips the skin and all that. And he says, Pain
He
is
has
easy, life is hard.
and yeah, he also mentions like he has a bunch of tattoos. He doesn't give a shit about pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, just like very subtly hammering home the idea of this dude who's like super insecure in his
Mhm.
masculinity too. And that's all subtext stuff, like very well could not be like what was exactly meant by including it. They're just like, oh, he's injured, include it. But like the subtext is there. And
I
you if you want to read it like that, that is absolutely there. And it's there often enough to where I think it's worth mentioning.
I think it kind of leaves the subtext in his final tribal speech, though. He does mention that he's not happy that the women beat him. And like
Yeah.
now the power he has
Yes.
is like his only like saving grace from that. Like he's
Mhm.
actively
That is
unhappy.
that's a little different than his masculinity. That's just him
Yeah.
being a little sexist. It's a
I mean,
Yeah.
little
I
different.
Um,
I
his
think it's a
final
bit
words,
related.
he says, "They will be judged as they have judged me today. The day of reckoning will come." And I'm just like, God damn, the general. Like, dude, you're the
He's pulling out
general, bro.
the quotes, pulling out the quotes.
Yeah. And then, of course, the next final tribal council. I don't know when we'll ever mention this. I want to mention it now, but oh my God, for a Tale of Two Cities tribal council where the Row 2-4 all show up in black. Like,
Black, yes, of
that is
course.
so fucking hardcore. It's like,
Aura.
just, yeah, so much aura, very thematic. It's like the fucking OJ
They are
trial or
aura
something.
farming.
Yeah, it would 100%. I think Probst even brings it up. He's like, I don't know if that means anything, but if you notice the
He
jury's wearing
does.
all black
He
tonight.
does say that. Of course, Probst has a ruin the moment,
I do
Yeah.
love how he still refers to himself today as the general.
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Uh, yeah. Uh, but yeah, shout out to the general. Honestly, I think he's a I don't know if I'd say he's a great player, but I think he's a little bit underrated. I think if things would have bounced a certain way, I think the general actually had a decent shot at winning Survivor.
Yeah,
I
I
I
mean, probably get
I
second place.
I think
Yeah.
out of the Roku four, I think if Tammy probably wins in my personal opinion, but
Yeah, I think if we somehow get the final two of the general and Zoe, which like I
yes,
think isn't like impossible. Like I think like I assume Tammy wins out of that. Like I assume
I
the
see a
but who
world where
knows?
people are pissed off at John enough that they
Yeah.
vote for the general.
Yeah, that too even. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think the general versus John final two might result in the general winning.
Imagine being John Carroll and just leading the most OP alliance ever, and then you lose to the fucking general.
Well, yeah, you deserve to lose. You brought the general to tribal council, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't even have his full denim suit on right now.
Yeah. That fucking photo on the right too.
Yeah,
One quick
no.
one quick antidote, which I just find fucking hilarious because I was also doing errands at my job, like driving a truck around. So I was listening to Rob Zabachnik's fucking Survivor Oz interview. And they ask him what his favorite season is. He's like, man, I don't really watch Survivor that much, but if you made me say my favorite season, I'd say it was season 4 because the general. He's like,
It's just
he's like, the general is the coolest guy I've met on Survivor. And I was like, oh shit, real as fuck.
The
The
general.
general must be a good hang.
go
Like
The general did a talking with T-Bird,
goats
right?
respecting
he did,
the
yeah.
All right,
goats
I gotta listen
respecting
to that.
goats.
Fucking the
Yeah,
general.
I
One of
I
my
do love
go
I
ahead.
do love his like quarantine questionnaire where he's like I'm sure people knew this in like 2004 or whatever, but he spent like years after the show doing stuff with Hunter Ellis and Lex in like South America. And
Oh
like
wow.
he like
Wow.
That is
after
dope.
after Survivor, he pretty much stopped being a limo driver and started working in like wildlife stuff.
Yeah, which I know he still does today, if
Yeah.
I
I
remember correctly. I think he
I
manages
think
some kind of like wildlife, like adventure, experience thing.
I think he's retired, maybe, or has a bunch of health issues. Like, I think that might be what I don't know what the photo on the top right is exactly from, but
Oh, that's just
looking at
him.
his
That's a screenshot of him on a random Zoom meeting, just being high
oh,
as balls.
Wasn't that the
mhm.
like the Marquesas Zoom
That is
reunion or
not the
some shit during
Marquesas Zoom
quarantine
reunion.
y'all did?
It's not that one. That's an entirely different thing. I'm just assuming the general is just on a video high off his ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
like
the
he is 62 now, so
Yeah, you know. The thing I did want to bring up is that during the Rosie O'Donnell song at the reunion, I just thought it was funny that the general is kind of awkwardly bouncing his head in the back there. I don't know why that stood out to me. It was just so fucking funny.
Dude, what pisses me off, which I would have loved so much, and it doesn't actually piss me off, but it's the joke me and my brother made when we were watching. We are like, damn, wouldn't it have been so sick if like Jeff would have rolled up in a limo and the general was driving that motherfucker to deliver the
Driving
votes?
it. That would be awesome.
And like both Jeff and the general get out. Or like Jeff gives the limo driver a tip. He's like, "Hey, thank you." He turns the corner. He turns to the seat. It's just the general just nods or something and takes the 20. That would have been the most hype thing ever. Man. All right. One last thing on the general, we'll move on. Another funny little the general joke is they're making the kites, and Pascal is talking about my kite is going to be a miserable failure, and the general's like, go fly a kite.
The one thing he's not insecure about, flying a kite.
What a guy.
Fucking no one else like him. All right, we ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
next up we've got ba 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 Cleopatra.
Ooh, boobs hanging
Oh,
out, all
really?
marvelous.
um, I get the immediate thing about Sarah is that she has probably one of, if not the best introduction in the history of the show.
Oh yeah, that like the way Sean sets it up is so fucking good. Um
It was almost
and
like Cleopatra, It was just ba 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 ba.
her boobs all hanging out, all marvelous. Like she wants Survivor. No one wants to see
Listen,
that.
listen, listen, guys. I would consider myself to be a respectful young man. She does have pretty marvelous boobs.
What does Boston Rob say
She
at
paid.
the Rosie O'Donnell
She paid.
finale where
She
they ask
paid,
what
paid a
he?
lot for him.
Yeah, first of all, she paid a lot for him, like the Sepia says, and second of all, Boston Rob. They asked him about the finale of what he was thankful for about his experience, and he was like, "I was thankful Sarah brought her boobs." That what's so great about that scene too is how great it contrasts Maramu and Rotu right from the beginning, because you see Rotu and everybody's working and they're all singing a song together that gets them on rhythm and they get on path, and then we cut to Maramu and Sarah's not doing any fucking work and
She's
she's
not
the
even rowing the
she
damn raft
yeah
in. She's just like
yeah, but
the
she's the
Cleopatra
one
thing was
saying
not an
row
exaggeration. She was just fucking sitting
row.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Yeah, she's
my
the one
god.
giving orders,
Hmm.
like right off the bat.
Dude, how
But
does how how is someone
how,
just as like dog shit at Survivor as her? And she's the fourth one to go on the tribe.
she's one of the
I
greatest
think it's
cockroaches ever.
Yeah, it's
she's
astonishing
also
that she
just like
makes it.
supremely funny.
Yeah. On this
Just like
on
her
this.
being there is just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a hysterical experience.
Also, like Sarah herself in general, I noticed this on my latest rewatch is like genuinely like funny, like a funny personality.
yeah, like there's this whole scene, I don't know how many people remember, where they Maramu goes up this like weird ass mountain that they have at camp that's so unpleasant looking compared to the waterfall, which is a contrast between the two beaches. And then Sarah decides like I'm gonna fuck off and go back by myself, and then she gets lost, and then she's like, I want to cut my legs off.
That's such a great
The
scene.
original, the original Helen.
Yeah. And
I
I
think
love
cutting your
that
legs off would be more unpleasant than shooting yourself.
Yeah,
that
a little
hike
bit.
is so fun too because Gina is talking about the entire time she's talking about how awesome Hunter is and how much Rob and Sean suck. And Sarah's just right there the whole time.
It is.
Like she wasn't a part of that whole fucking coop, you know? Ah, man.
It is
But yeah,
actually so. It's like every fucking episode when they talk to her, she's just like in her confessional before tribal council. She has one, I think, every single episode that she's there, and she's just like, going off about like I don't remember exactly what she was saying, but she's just kind of moping. And then in her boot episode, her fucking boot episode is the one where she starts like speaking in a very matter of fact way, like, yeah, I might like, again, I don't remember exactly what she was saying. I do have the first half of Thailand a little bit too in my brain right now, but yeah,
yeah,
it's just I think the switch up of her demeanor in her boot episode is very ironic.
yeah. And she's really the first person to like legitimately be swap screwed. Like
Yeah,
you know,
Eh.
you could
yeah.
say Silas, which I think is fair, but they swapped even, you know? Technically they swapped
Yeah.
even numbers.
Well, was
Sarah's the first person that went from a position of power, I mean, inner
safety, I
tribe
guess.
to yeah,
Mhm.
safety to complete not safety. Because at least in, Silas, they swapped 3-3.
Well,
This
if
was a 2 to
yeah,
3.
if Maramu goes again without the swap, it's Gina, and then I don't know who the hell it is after that. But
Yeah, after that, who the fuck knows? But
because
yeah,
It's
it's
it's a
probably
tribe of
Sarah,
four. Well, it would be Visippi and Sean, and then I would assume Rob and Sarah. And
yeah.
I feel like
yeah,
Rob would flip on Sarah
but maybe
before,
Rob would vote with Sean.
or
I I
Visippi,
I
or I don't know. This is a very hypothetical situation that
yeah.
never happens.
It's hard to say, but it does remind me of one of my favorite conversations when Sean pulls Rob aside and is like, "Hey, man, I need to talk to you about your girl. She's really she's kind of useless, but do you like her, or like, is that real, man?" And Rob's just like, "Nah, dog, I don't really feel any way about that for real."
Yeah,
Like,
that's why.
is she that amazing by herself? She's pretty good, but like, she's a really great. This sounds really bad, like object for Rob and Sean to play off of.
Yeah,
I
oh
mean,
yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
no, that's
why you're
totally
cast.
fair.
Yeah.
These characters are
You need
cast
a
to
you need a
interact with one another.
catalyst. Yeah,
You know,
you need a catalyst. And she is a great, just like Zoe. She's a great catalyst, except
hmm
she's like prevalent in all four of her episodes.
hmm
Yeah, and of course that's why she's much. I think there's a decent gap between who is 14.
the general.
I
The
think there's a
general.
decent gap between the general and Sarah here, and then up from here is all quite good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I have Sarah in my top 300. I think she's
She's
I
so
think
almost in
I have
my
her
top
top
200.
200. I think she is in my top
Yes,
200.
I
But
think she might be in
yeah,
mine actually too. Think
it's
about it.
she's yeah, so good and I first of all, I love how starts sleeping on the American flag and like bundles herself in it
Yeah.
like once Paschal
Doesn't
brings it over.
she is the
Doesn't she do her
confessional lying on
confessionals
it?
on the
Doesn't
American
it?
flag? Yeah.
Yeah, she
Just
does. She
respecting the
does.
flag is so
sh-
awesome.
She does absolutely do a confessional, lying on it.
Does she have any in that hot tub bed of the flipped raft, or is that someone else? I think that.
I don't think she
Oh,
has a
she might
Ooh.
have. I
confessional
think
in
you're actually.
there.
I think it's actually right. I think you might be right. I know Peter has one, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
Yes.
Peter's in the hot tub when he's talking about all the holes too.
Uh huh.
Yeah, but I think he has a confessional from there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's Rob and Sarah who spend the night in there.
hmm I love their um flirting at the beginning and all that. Sarah's the fucking big spoon while Rob's the little spoon. I noticed that. I thought that was fucking cool. And then they also have this conversation where Sarah's like, I want a monkey if I win the money. You want a monkey too? It's like drowned
Yes.
out by like all this other stuff, but I'm like, what the fuck? So she's kind of weird herself. But
And then,
And it's
yeah.
but
nice.
excused by being hot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I love how everyone on the tribe is like even Hunter and Gina, they're like, damn, if Sarah was gone, like Rob would be like, you know, a good worker and really they're all like Sarah's distracting Rob, which like I don't know how true that
Sarah's, Sarah,
Listen,
particularly
it
is.
was
Sarah,
not that
it's
fucking
always
true.
the woman's
It
fault.
was not that
I
fucking
It's
true
think
always the
that
woman's
considering
fault.
row 2.
I do
Yeah.
think that they were better off if Rob was distracted, to be fair.
Yes.
And I
Rob
love
locked in and immediately tanked the tribe.
there's that great scene where Sarah's all pissed off that I think they're building the roop with the palm fronds and all that. And she was saying how she had been suggesting that for a while, but once Hunter says it, that's when it
She
gets
did.
done.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
The
it's such great foreshadowing for like what Hunter's boot is going to become is the resentment between all these
Yes.
people, even though like
And Hunter.
us as an audience thinks Hunter is doing a really good job and is trying to pull together this group of misfits that are bringing him down, you know?
mhm.
So
Apparent
yeah, we get these little nuggets and it finally just culminates together in the Hunter boot. It's so fucking good.
yeah. My favorite is after the Patricia boot where Hunter is fucking grilling at her for whatever and she's just like, "Apparently I have to be." And it's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Ah, man.
They did
That's
almost vote her out.
Yeah,
dude,
but she just says it in the most like it's like, "What are you talking about?"
that reminds me of one of my favorite underrated fights is after the Hunter Tribal Council. Um, Gina and Sarah start fighting because they ask about
Oh, that is
getting
a
rid
good
of
one.
Hunter. Yeah, and because Gina's like, thought it was going to be me tonight, but it's a stupid move to get rid of Hunter. And so she's asking the tribe, and for whatever reason, Sarah thinks she's the one that should respond to this, and she's like, "Well, we just wanted to do something different. Looking at the big picture, this game has no rules." And all this stuff. And I'm just like, damn, Sarah, you could just say, like, yeah, y'all were gonna vote me out. Like, you're the only one here that doesn't have to explain it. Like V or Sean or
Yeah.
Rob, like they should be the
Yeah.
ones having to explain it. They're
No,
totally getting
Sarah
off
got them.
scot free. Yeah.
Sarah got them. She got their bag. That's an alliance right there.
Hmm. They just want to do something different. And then I what also I always found kind of sad is of course Sarah and Rob get split up at the tribe swap. But
And they don't get
Sarah,
married.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's the big one.
I wonder
But
how
she seems to like her new tribe members. Like she's saying how much she gets along with all of them, and she's sad that one of them has to get voted out. And she ends up voting for Kathy because she says that she's a little bit overbearing and motherly, which I find funny because that was her big thing against Patricia
Mama.
too. Mama, yeah. So
Mama.
she's just voting out all the people that remind her of her mom, I guess. you know,
The bad
I I
relationship.
mean I mean
um,
in her like initial bio, she's like Jones is extremely proud of her parents, especially her mother, who is a breast cancer survivor. And then she goes in the show and does that shit.
that actually that actually adds a whole new layer to her character. She might be number one.
Yeah, again, I have her I
frickin'
have her
frack.
I have her higher than any of you guys. She is really fucking funny.
No, she's great.
So underrated.
Yep. Two flotation devices.
Again, it's very easy to look at the rankings and be like, oh well, why do you have her so low? The vast majority of these characters, especially from like good like classic 1 through 10 shit, are like higher than the vast majority of all characters ever.
Hmm.
Even if I have them at like 12th for the season.
Yeah. Our girl Sarah. All right.
Next up,
No.
Oh.
we've got Gina Cruz.
I'm
Oh.
glad she's this high because the discourse like in the server about oh Gina's like the most boring worst character ever is insane. to me.
No,
Very
she's
obviously
not.
dumb and not
Uh,
correct.
is
Yeah.
she like the greatest thing ever? No, but is she a
No,
consistently
she's
good, like
good character.
Hmm.
Yeah.
consistently good, well characterized, and she's a solid presence, and I have her higher than everyone else by a significant margin,
Mhm.
which I am quite surprised by.
Yeah. I think a lot of that Gina discourse comes from people that, view Survivor through stat sheets and they see Gina as the
Yeah.
character. I don't know if she still is, but for a long
Uh,
time, she was the
Not
character that had the
anymore.
most pre-merge,
She was.
that
the
guy's
pre-merger that
broken
had
and
the most
That
tribal
got broken.
councils.
That got broken by Banu.
They got broken by Banu. Of course,
I
Banu got more
wait,
confessionals
no,
than
wait,
Gina.
By
wait,
Bono.
I thought that got broken by Say.
Say
Oh,
made the
That
maybe
got
it
broken
merge.
by
was broken by
Bonu and got
Banu and
broken
then
by Say.
Say broke Banu's. Yeah.
Or I think
Oh, but Say made the merge,
no,
right?
no, yeah, Say made the merge.
Yeah, so she's not a
Yeah,
No,
pre-merger.
I think Gina I think
Mergatory.
no, I think what it is Gina had 36, Banu had 36, Rome had 37, and Rome technically didn't make the merge even though he made the merge.
Yeah, he's
But then
mergatory, right?
Banu
but
is
then
35,
Say made the merge. Oh, then I guess Rome broke it.
and
But
Gina is
Yeah.
37.
oh, but it's way funnier to
The-
say that Rome.
yeah.
It's way funnier to say that Banu broke it.
Also,
Uh,
they always
mhm,
conventional counting is kind of a weird art. People
It
count them
is.
yeah,
differently.
and
Like
then
There are,
it,
and then
there's no consensus over
yeah,
this.
and then
yeah, so
fucking
this is
say
like, yeah.
also, and then fucking Say had like 55 confessionals in like 6 episodes.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
let's get back to talking about a good character. Let's talk about Gina.
Correct.
Yeah, which I think she justifies the screen time. No one had gone to that many tribal councils that early.
Mhm.
She goes to 5 out of the 6 pre-merge tribal councils,
I think
which
And it's very like
she's the only
go
one
ahead.
until Oolong, right? That does that, I think.
Mhm.
yeah, I think yeah. I guess
Yes.
Sukjai,
100%. Yes.
but Sukjai is a little different with the merge being so late. But yeah,
Yeah, like they go to five of eight, which is much different than 5 of 6.
Yeah, like
yeah.
percentage wise, she's far and away the most, obviously, until that. But to me, it's also just like very much like voice of the audience. Like obviously, yes, like underdog, like going to all these tribal councils and someone you want to root for because she's on Hunter's side, who the show obviously wants you to root for. But like she's also just like the voice of the audience for such a long period of time. Like the show
Mhm.
does not want you to agree with the decision making of like Boston Rob and Sean and Sarah early in the season. And Gina is the voice
Of
to
reason,
represent
really.
you as the viewer. Yeah, to
Really,
represent you
yeah.
as the viewer
She is really
for that.
mhm. Again, it is
He's the straight man of that tribe.
not one person in America um probably saw the Hunter boot coming, and
No,
by the
they
time that
didn't.
happened,
People thought Rob and Sean were the worst players of all time. Like legit. People
Which
thought that
was
was the
true.
stupidest fucking move ever.
mhm,
Which was true.
yeah, but then Gina is again like the vessel for America there being like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
What is wrong with these people?
Yeah. Yeah, and I
I
I I think her as a character is so good too. I love her, she's talking about how certain people at work do work and some people don't. And Sarah says her thing about how she's just trying to preserve energy for the challenges. And Sarah's like, Gina says, well, I don't agree because if um someone does that, then I have to pull their weight, then I'll have less energy for the challenges. And then we end up doing
Mhm.
worse. And she's talking about how Sarah and Sean and all them are upset with the communications and they're being told what to do more. And she's like, would they want? They want telecommunication, maybe? I don't know.
I'm gonna also just point out the best scene from Gina. It's I don't know if it's in episode 5 or her boot episode, but it's when she's talking about like her life dreams with Kathy.
Yeah, when they both
Hmm.
realize that
That
they
is a
they
great
both
scene.
have gone back to school to study environmental science. That's a good scene. And yeah, you see Gina just automatically bonding
Mm-hmm.
with this
Yeah, I
new
think that's I
tribe.
think that's her boot episode because like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy is like very very hurt by having to boot Gina obviously, and all three of them are
Mm-hmm.
very like hurt by the fact that they have to boot Gina over
Mhm.
winning a challenge and
Mm-hmm.
probably like Rob going home or something who
Yeah.
they all hate.
Oh, and I love the scene where Gina is and the rest of New Maramu are excitingly talking about who they think is going to get voted off. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Sean. Bye, Sean. Bye, Rob." And Nalia says, "I think it's going to be Rob. The other three think it's going to be Sean." And and of course, it's fucking Gabe, and they have a
Gabe.
fucking breakdown. But it's so funny that Gina is like so ready to sell out Sean and Rob and
Really,
and
she
is
hates
just
them.
gleefully waiting.
She,
Oh
she
yeah, yeah.
she can't stand them. Yeah.
And that someone succeeding in this game, the game isn't rewarding merit. Like that was just such an insane move. And her reaction, like we're saying, really was just the audience reaction. And I know
Yeah.
I guess some people think that nowadays she's just like complaining and stuff, but I think it's still pretty legitimate. It takes her, it's not till day 13 until Gina finally wins something.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there
she's gonna be frustrated.
there is absolutely a reason that like she was a fan favorite. Did
Oh
she?
yeah,
Mm-hmm. I know they didn't have the fan favorite award back then, and
but they
obviously,
had those polls you could vote on at CBS.com, the approval ratings, and
yeah.
hers was super duper duper high.
Like obviously, Kathy would have won it, but she was probably like what top five at least, top three maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gina was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, definitely like in the time that she's in the show for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and
I think
you'd also
by the
really
end, Pascal and Nalia and obviously Kathy have her beat.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But another element to Gina that I think just makes that row to four getting taken over just that much more delicious is she like we're saying, she talks so negatively about Sean and Boston Rob that um you you know Kathy has her reservations when she goes and meets Rob on that summit. Pascal
Yep.
and Nalia already have these preconceived notions about those castaways that
Yep.
it looks like they never want to work with them. They're like, wow, Gina told us they were
That
pieces
great
of
and that
shit.
yeah, that greatly affects obviously True Lies, but like the trajectory of the rest of the season is like completely shifted because of Gina, like
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
way that Gina speaks about her old tribe specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think one of her, I don't know, one of the more stand-up confessionals. I guess we've already covered this a lot, but the way she talks about Sarah is like on that hilltop scene. Is like Sarah's pretty much given up. Is kind of the gist of it, and like, but like the type of person she is might not even have a clue. It's like I I love how she just kills Sarah. The whole mountain climbing scene is just great.
Yeah. Good stuff. Shout out to Gina. Like I'm glad that this podcast has given her some love because I think she
Yeah.
is one of the all-time great pre-mergers for me. So
Very just
100%.
so underappreciated.
yeah, works really well in that story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we moving
all
on.
right. Yeah,
All right,
let's see who's
and
next.
next up we have the legendary, the unique auteur himself, Peter Harkey.
This dude, this is my pick for the greatest first boot of all time. Like, I think to pack like that much, honestly, like subtle depth, and his relationship with Sean is obviously so unique and so like well
Teach me some
made
Harlem
for
stuff.
one episode. It feels like the best relationship that a first boot has, and he's just hysterical, right? Like this dude is
Yeah,
just he's just fucking
he
awesome.
spends his time talking about the various holes in the human body.
He's a Fruit
while
Loop.
also while also being religious and sharing some very awesome like religious like content with Sean,
Hmm.
some very deep like awesome religious stuff while also talking about how many holes he has while being holy with Sean. Just very fun stuff.
Yeah.
Peak.
Well, I also love how he says the reason he started talking like that is because Sean really inspired him to be himself. And Sean got him to chill out, and like loosen up some. So that's when Peter's like real freak flag starts flying.
Yeah.
And Patricia just walks away. She's like, I'm done.
Of course she would.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, uh, Peter, he's the one that he's really into yoga, so his breathing is really good. So he's the one that, blows on the fire and gets it all started. And what I Peter has this one quote about how he's not this magical, mystical person, and but he can get like the truth on a situation. You just look into someone's eyes. And he kind of freaks out like before that first boot, which and is like kind of actively trying to figure out who everyone's gonna vote for, and kind of just
Hey,
spooks
maybe
everyone.
he saw the truth. He saw the truth in people's eyes that they were going to vote him out.
Yeah, maybe. And and Peter was saying, we don't know what's gonna happen. That's called life. And he says he doesn't fit in and all this. And it's just really, I think it does not go stated enough how big of a deal it was that a man was voted off first. It that I don't we had 3 seasons in a row where a woman was voted off first. Like
I
the
think
oldest
it,
woman on the tribe 3 times in a row.
Hmm.
yeah, it does make a lot of
Diane
sense.
didn't deserve it.
It does make a lot of sense that this happens on the Maramu tribe, which is ultimately a bit of a disaster and is like run by ultimately. But like this vote, it's kind of a whole tribe just deciding get rid of the Fruit Loop, even though he might be physically stronger than like a Sarah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
It's like really the first strategical type of this guy. I guess I don't know how much strategy it was other than this guy's weird and maybe he was caught like I guess some of the causing stress you guys were saying.
yeah, it's just kind of freaking everyone out. With the game, of course, his personality didn't help, but yeah, towards the end when they finally have to start playing the game, um, yeah, he just ends up kind of freaking everyone out. And like what I mentioned earlier, how this is really the first time where I think they have 4 like very vocal alpha males all on one tribe, and you just see them all bash heads even this early on, where shit, they're willing to take Peter out first. That's quite remarkable. The bowling alley owner.
He's. I don't.
It is a great job title.
Yeah, I don't know where I found that guy, but I
What?
I know he got in the casting process. He got into like a very big argument with Mark Burnett around like spirituality and
Oh no.
Why would he not?
numerology too, because like Peter's very into numerology also, if I remember correctly. Numberology, whatever the fuck you call it. And got into like a huge argument with Mark Burnett, and he thought like, fuck, I'm never getting on the show. Mark Burnett hates me now. Not knowing that like a lot of these early Survivor casting,
That's probably why
that's
Mark
probably what
Burnett
sealed
got
his.
cast.
Yeah, it's probably why
Yeah.
Mark Burnett was like, we need Peter on the show.
Yeah,
It's because
but.
we were able to push his buttons. He was able to say some
I just
crazy shit to us.
Mhm.
I just like the idea of Mark Burnett and Peter in a room arguing.
Fucking
Yeah.
his
So,
voting confessional for Patricia is like low key a little heartbreaking because at that point like he knows what's up and he's just like, Trisha, you deserve to stay.
mhm.
Oh,
In
sweet.
his final words, didn't he say his wife told him to shut up or he'll be the first one voted out or something.
Yeah, I think he did say that. Yeah,
I think his wife is right.
Yeah, I think his wife knew him very
he's
well.
just fun and like surprisingly deep, which is really honestly that's all first boot needs to be. It's just like fun,
Yeah.
surprisingly deep, or both.
Yep.
Yeah, and
And
I
I
think
Mhm.
like the reason I have him the lowest out of all of y'all is mostly to do with that he's the first boot and he's not that deep, rather than anything more than that.
yeah. He's as good as a first boot can be, and I co-sign the idea. I think he is my favorite first boot. I think there's a couple that could compete, but I think if you made me choose, it'd be Peter. So
He's in my top 10 for sure. I don't
yeah,
know. I'm a big no. He's probably in my top 5. My favorite is Sonia. Uh,
yeah,
I,
she's up there.
I like Fair Play on
Sonya's
Micronesia
my
a
second
lot,
favorite for sure.
Yeah, I have
and
I have both Deb and Diane up there.
I
Hannah
have Tina,
Diane,
Hannah
Diane for
Rose.
sure.
Hannah
Tina
Rose is a
Shearer,
fun one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zane, maybe,
yeah.
yeah,
probably.
I think
yeah.
I think I take Sonia, Timbertina, Fair Play, and Hannah Rose before Peter, but Peter might be
I
number
also
5.
have Wendy Joe.
But Wendy
Wendy
Joe
Joe.
gotta go.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. All very serviceable, but yeah. Shout out to Peter and yeah, very
Our
just interesting part.
And I'm
Survivor rank down legend Tapara slash Debut Survivor actually had a full on meetup session with Peter Harkey numerous years ago, which is a
Uh,
very interesting story.
uh, well, Peter's if you ever track down his Survivor Oz interview, he tells a very interesting story about why his destiny was to go on Survivor post 9/11. So just check that out if you want.
Hmm.
Yeah, he foresaw that he was going to make millions of people happy in a time of need.
And you know what?
That is true.
Was he wrong? Not at all.
Yeah. All right, who we
Just
got?
all right. Next up, we got Tammy.
Oh,
Um,
underrated.
yeah. Well, she's
I
engaged. There's not really much hope there.
I feel like the show kind of also underrates her, which is why I have her the lowest. Like she is a super duper interesting human being, and I don't really know if the show does enough with that. Uh, she also just has one of the best jury speeches of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think
ta-
probably other than the obvious like snakes and rats, like it might be my favorite. Period.
yeah, I think it's her, Helen. Like her, Helen, or
Yeah,
Big Ted.
Helen's way up there too.
Yeah.
I
Helen,
just love again the role that
Trish.
like basically all these characters play in the season is so important, and I really do love Tammy as like this, like the second of the Rotus, right? Like
Mhm.
she's more major than the general and Zoe, but she's not more major than John, but she doesn't need to be because she still fits in perfectly, and you basically have all the characterization that you need from her. You know all of her relationships with the important characters, and she's just a character that like you can really turn to her during pretty much any scene, get her input, and you're like, yeah, I like that. And I think that's just like a fun thing to have there
Yeah.
in
I
this
do
kind of season.
I do very much like that along with John, but I think John gets a lot more like funny character kind of things and
I
like
agree.
other stuff. Tammy gets a lot more of like in the game boot, she's like, you don't give a shit about the money. I care about the game and the money, and like it's like the smartest like it's a game type of confessionals, and it's not like in a way where like today like everyone's like that and it doesn't stand out because everyone does it. In the Marquesas, it's like Tammy and John are like the few people that treat it this way and speak about it in this
Yeah.
way, and
Yeah.
it's
And it
contrasted
lines up
with
it lines
Gabe.
up perfectly with her jury speech too. Like
Yeah.
that whole idea basically leads perfectly into the jury speech where she just lights the fuck up out of Vecepia and
Mm-hmm.
Nalia.
Well, even early on, we have Tammy saying it's not realistic. It's a great idea, but it's not realistic to come here thinking you're gonna play an honorable game without lying. And this is a game about what did she say? This is a game about being the smartest person, outwitting, outplaying, outlasting. You might have to tell a white lie or three, and she admits she came into the game knowing that she's going to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and because she's here to play a game, and she hopes at the end of it everyone will still like her, and she's not going to try to straight out lie in anyone's face. But if she's got to lie to win, she'll do it. She's honest the whole time about it.
And like to connect to her jury speech, she's like this isn't Zoe's boot episode. It's like they see us as traitors, like the Road to 4, even though they did like the exact same thing to them. It's like she is recognizing this pretty much immediately, and it's shown. And then there's all the stuff with Zoe, of course, which is
Yeah.
I put that mostly on Tammy's like character
Zoe's a
rather than
bitch.
Zoe's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't credit Zoe that much, other than Zoe just being a flake, but Tammy is great there.
I love her. They give them the stilts to practice. That's
Yeah,
another great challenge. Is the stilt walking challenge,
Mm-hmm.
where Tammy says, "I was watching them all practice, and it made me happy because they sucked." And Tammy takes the stilts and goes far away from everyone else and just practices, and they get to the stilt walking challenge. She's the only one that can walk on a stilt for more than like half a second and wins
Mm-hmm.
immunity, and
they need to
kind of
bring
saves
this.
herself.
They need to bring the stilts back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great challenge.
Yeah. That's a fun one. I like the ones where they kind of get a practice a little bit beforehand. And we get moments where like Tammy prioritizes, you know, because she knows feels like she has to win because she says that after John, she's kind of seen as the second head, which I think was true.
I mean, she was like factually.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then like we were talking about greater jury speeches, and she's talking about, the doesn't want either of them to get the money. And she hates that she lost to these
Haste.
holier than thou hypocrites.
Haste that she lost to these women.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
I,
feel like we
I
gotta also acknowledge her off the show post Survivor stuff, which is basically it's a good thing this time actually. Basically a way of saying Tammy is one of the most accomplished people to ever be on the show post Survivor, to the point where this show is probably not even in the top 5 coolest things she's ever done in her life.
oh yeah, yeah, no, she's a big time investigative reporter who's
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of really impressive stuff, written a few books, if I remember correctly.
12
Yeah,
Emmys.
I think they even mentioned her wanting to write a book and wanting to work for, I think maybe forget if it was CNN or whatever, but I think that's in the Fallen Comrades challenge. They bring that all that up.
yeah, it is mentioned like what she wants to do in the future or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, Tammy has led a very interesting life. Like we're saying, yeah, I think a lot of these people that were on these early survivors um, were just the kind of people that I guess had higher aspirations than just career reality television.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Rob.
God, yeah, yeah. Well, there was one guy who saw the vision, who did not want to start working construction for the rest of his life.
Or
This man,
bartending with what's her with
this
Shannon.
man, this man was like, "Damn, I have a psychology degree, and I'm what? How could I use it?"
And now he's
Oh
got
man,
Amber. But we'll
yeah,
we'll
what a
get into
guy.
the Rob
We'll
Father
get into all that.
later. All right.
Yeah.
We move on from Tammy. It's just like it's easy to kind of overlook her to the other characters, but like when you're watching,
Yeah.
I think that she contributes just I think honestly, at times, just as much like Lights mentioned, the stuff with Zoe and everything, and the boot, and following the John boot, like really, Tammy does do a fantastic job at like carrying the torch for
Hmm.
John, following his boot up until she leaves.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So that's another shout I
her
wanted to give her really
best
quickly before we
her
moved on.
her best
I do,
episode is the Zoe episode.
yeah, I do think I like she isn't really much of a presence. Like John is such a focus in pretty
Yeah,
much the whole pre-merge that I'm not like Tammy does there like I get it and it makes sense from a storytelling perspective, but for if you want to make Tammy a better character, you give her more content. But
I
that's besides the point, and
I
I
agree
don't
with
know if
that.
it makes the season better.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I also don't like 100% know what you cut, you know?
Exactly. Like I'm sure there's something somewhere, but like
Uh-huh.
obviously whatever. That's besides the point, and we can go on to number 9 probably.
Yep. All right. And moving on to number 9, we have everybody's favorite commercial star, Hunter Ellis.
I love that photo.
Yes, man, out here selling flashlights, man.
What a
It's Hunter
obvious
Ellis with the weather report.
obviously we said this before.
Blistering 160 degrees according to Rod Day.
Hunter has among the most important boot episodes of all time.
Oh yeah, the
yeah, somehow
magnitude of
somehow
that Hunter
surpassed.
boot.
Yeah, somehow surpassed by somebody 2 episodes later, but like it's still probably the second most important in the entire history of the show, or third. Gretchen way up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Silas.
Yeah. Oh man, a lot of great ones. But yeah, Hunter, I think is just such a great character. Someone that immediately comes out, has this big leadership role, and seems to be someone that does it all right, and it just doesn't work out. Like
I don't.
those are, and we can nowadays look at it and maybe say, oh, that wasn't right. Maybe he should have recognized this, and that. But when you're initially watching it, you're thinking, okay, this is the guy that knows what's going on. He knows how to make the fire. He's been in the most situations that could help this tribe work. And it looks like he's trying to put his best foot forward. It looks like he's trying not to patronize anyone, but he rubs people the wrong way.
Based on
Yeah.
everything that had been shown on the show to this point, I don't think Hunter does anything wrong.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
like even you see like he's joining in with the tribe's silly stuff like on the weather report or like the morning. Like it's not like he's being like, "Oh, I'm going to go I don't know, collect firewood when the tribe's like bonding."
Oh yeah, he's hilarious in those morning shows.
Exactly.
He's the one that sets up Al Sharpton's phone call.
yes,
Well,
he
I guess
does.
Vesepia sets it up
The
with which do you
sepia, the
think,
sepia throws. Yeah, the
black or the
sepia
white
throws
no
the bomb.
nos? And then Hunter knows that. Oh, okay. Let's say the one that will get the funniest response out of Sean. Because Hunter's actively smiles when he hears that because he knows he's being set up, and he's like, all right, let's give him that, and it's so funny. And yeah, that of course the great final words, like probably in my top five final words, where he's talking about you you, that he's gonna have to call the Red Cross to get them all airlifted before they die of dehydration and starvation, and you know that he was camping with a bunch of knuckleheads, and that he'll tell them that again when he sees them. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he has great relationships with like most of
Everyone.
Manaamu, Rob, especially Sean, Patricia, Sarah. Um
Gina.
mhm.
Yeah.
Even his comments about our good friend Peter.
Hmm.
Uh, Again, for a third boot, he's just so well defined and well established that it's like, yeah, these early seasons, they just, I don't know, they've they've
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. We have this one confessional where Hunter is talking about how an alliance means absolutely nothing right now, which I think is in relation to the fact that Maramo keeps losing so much that they shouldn't even be thinking about that yet.
Hmm.
Which thinking of voting out strong people yet. Which I get in one perspective, but it also perfectly showcases that the game is on and we get the tribe swap later, and I love how I think it's Gabe that says it, and I think Tammy says something similar. How um, the old Maramu brought the game over here with us. They've had to play cutthroat since the beginning.
Oh, oh, it's such a great line.
Yeah, and yeah, just Hunter, what is just that perfect manifestation of that, having to play cutthroat from the beginning. Hunter thought that just out of the pure necessity of surviving out there that he would be invaluable. And I think to many tribes he is, but to Maruamu he was not. Um,
And
and of
again,
course he puts that sunscreen on Patricia's back. So nice guy.
yeah, and obviously, after after his obviously historic vote, uh, on all future seasons, it was like, okay, this archetype just is not safe. No one is safe intrinsically based on their archetype going into the season. And that I think that really just shook the game up and made it more dynamic going forward.
Yeah.
If you
And some of this, like the Peter boot and the Hunter boot, I wonder if it's like, now they're back on the beach. Maybe the conditions aren't as tough. They feel like they have more power to, you know, um, vote in a more untraditional way, I guess.
hmm
So I've always kind of wondered that, like, if they were in Jordan, would they be willing to cut Hunter that early? Would they be willing to have Peter be voted out first?
Yeah,
Who knows? Very
yeah.
possible, but the conditions might be tougher. They might be dying more. People's priorities could have been different. Like even though I don't think Marquesas was easy, they purposely gave them zero food for the first time.
I
The
mean,
bugs were terrible, the
the
no-nos,
no
but
knows it.
I assume it was comparatively easier.
hmm, Maramu's camp had food. If you remember, when the swap though, there whoever's get swapped over like Kathy and Pascal and Lily are like, oh my god, there's fruit here. So
Yeah, they had the grapefruits and all that.
hmm,
Yeah, I think they made one tribe have like a really good food supply, one tribe have very good water supply.
it's similar to how they set up the camps in Thailand, where
Yeah, sunrise, sunset.
cave versus um having to swim 3 miles or whatever the hell. There's no way they had to swim 3 miles.
Yeah, to get their water.
They would be dead if they had to swim 3 miles.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And
It's
I guess to end it with Hunter, one of my favorite confessionals, he talks about how winning is an attitude that you need to have all the time, and he thinks they'd be winning more if they worked together around camp, took the game seriously, and didn't only pretend to start trying during challenges. And it's contrasted with Road 2 because at least from what they see, they work a lot. They're a tribe that does work a lot together, and they work at camp, and everyone has found their roles. They found what they're successful at, and they work hard all the time, not just at challenges. And maybe they've learned to work together at camp, so then they're successful when they have to work together in challenges. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Hunter. All right.
We ready to move on to the last person that isn't in the objective top 7 of this season?
Let's see it.
We've got the person that actually ranked 7th on Reg's polls anyways, Gabe Cade, who is bald now.
Whoa.
If you can
The
imagine,
goat.
Gabe is like one of the most super active people on the season on social media. It's like crazy.
Wow.
Gabe definitely strikes me as like an AI type guy.
Uh,
You did grow up on a commune, right?
he just posts pictures of the random nurses he works with because he's a doctor.
I could see that. I could see
So
Gabe
wow.
being like, isn't he like a more of a, is he like a doctor in like the woods or something like that? I feel like he's not like a doctor of the traditional sense, but who the fuck knows?
um, Gabe's vote off, in my opinion, is like low key even more important than Hunter's, just
Yes,
because of
Yeah, I
what
don't
it
think it's
stood
as
to
like
for.
be fair.
I don't think it's as obviously imperatively more important, but like I think in the deeper sense of things,
Mhm.
just that
Mhm.
cannibalism that early
It's
was even more brutal than
it's it's the
than Hunch's boot.
Yeah,
listen.
I
It's
I
the
think
death of
it's
innocence.
it's the death of the
the
mindset
Survivor.
of Borneo,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It,
to Survivor history, it's probably not as important as the Hunter boot, but to the actual events of Marquesas, it is like it's the boot. Like this is the this is the event that
Well,
basically sets everything into motion.
that sets everything into motion. Yes, I was gonna say like the event of the season is the John boot.
Yeah, but like but like you don't get the John boot without the Gabe boot.
No,
Yeah.
You don't even
because
have John without Gabe.
it's just
Yeah.
this
With his
guy
gay
who
boot.
he's like I'm here for the love tribe. I'm not here to play the game, and that
pisses
John is
John off.
John is immediately very off put by that, and he turns on Gabe, and out pops the Row 2-4.
Yeah, and I think on his own, also Gabe is just a very interesting, fun character. Like Light said, it's kind of the death of the Borneo mindset with his boot. Like his boot is kind of the most important thing for him, but
Mm-hmm.
he on his own is very fun. He has interesting relationships with like really all of the Rotus because of the way he approaches the game. And having somebody, you don't want to say this deep into Survivor history 'cause this is the fourth season, but like this deep in the evolution of what Survivor will become because he becomes a victim of it is interesting in its own right because he's so like disconnected from the entire idea of what the people on his tribe are doing, which is playing to win the money.
Yep. And I love in those early scenes with Gabe and I think the scenes with like Gabe and Kathy especially. What does he say? He's trying to assuage her worries and that he'd rather get to know you and get to know her as a because Kathy at the beginning, of course, we'll talk to her more. She was really the odd man out on Mararamu, not Mararamu, on Rotu. And we get a lot of because the whole society thing and building a tribe, we get a lot of quotes from Gabe about it. Because that's his big thing, not the actual mechanics of the game. And
Yeah,
that's
like
why he accepts when Rob and Sean and V come over as um Row 2 members. And he's actively hanging out with them and he's actively doing the radio show with them and rapping with them and all these other really fun scenes. And that just, you know, sets
Pisses
off these
John off
warning
even
flags to
more.
John. Yeah, which like, is it justified? I don't know. I think that's a really interesting philosophical kind of debate. Did Gabe deserve his fate? Was he trying to, have his cake and eat it too? Did John actually have worries, or did John jump the gun?
I mean, to be fair, I do not believe John that there's any based on the way Gabe talked about the game. Like, oh my God, people are worried how long they're going to be here. and he just wants to build a society with 7 strangers. I genuinely do not think John had anything to worry about with Gabe, but in the game, you can never know that, right?
Especially by that point, when the game was becoming like,
Mm.
it feels weird to say more of a thing, but the game was becoming like more of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think it really shows up truly until Amazon that this is truly like a bit more gamified, but
Yeah. I think Thailand
mhm.
really is a really strong theme in that. But yeah, Amazon is when it's just kind of accepted. Like that's just a default.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you still have Gabe asking,
Mm.
like he's explicitly asked, what are the ethics in this game? And John's talking about how this isn't the 70s, this isn't the 60s and free love and that kind of stuff.
Mhm. I also do like how outside of his boot, because we can talk about that all day, but I think he's a really good kind of narrator of how Kathy is in those first 3 episodes where
Yep.
Gabe is on the same tribe. It's like, oh my god, Kathy's trying to be a leader. Maybe we don't need a leader in this society Gabe wants to build. And how Kathy's a loner in this society that Gabe wants to build.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then once Kathy starts turning it around, Gabe comments on that as well. I don't think it's
Yeah.
something you could quote, but it is kind of narrates Kathy's story in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't give me that individual shit when it was Gabe's turn to go. Everybody said, we team, we team.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I
So,
Oh,
mean,
Sean.
probably one of the best arguments in the history of Survivor, the Sean John Rob
Yeah.
fight in True Lies,
Mm-hmm.
all
yeah.
That
around.
one is we'll get to it later, but it is such a,
Mhm.
a potent argument.
Yeah. Well, because that Gabe vote, is, John and them, John actively pulls Sean aside and says, hey, we're voting off Gabe. And it almost kind of comes back to haunt John in a way. And Sean even says, like, he shouldn't have told us that. He should have let us all believe that one of us was going home and then would have just killed Gabe on his own with their 4 votes. Because now, they're trying to come up with a counter plan, but they can't really come up with one, probably because Gabe is just so fucking like not strategically coherent,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And he refuses to, take Rob's very easy offer.
Yeah, I guess it was, a 4-4 tie, but like, still that's better than going home.
Absolutely.
And
Guys,
John
I'm up.
John gets the let me say this part real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's where John actively is saying this is the new Maramu that will dominate once a traditional
The
merge
new row
comes.
2.
The new Row 2, yeah, the new Row
Yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which, like they don't believe that for shit, but that's what John is saying, and that'll be a focal part in arguments going forward.
Or what he's attempting to.
Are we done with Gabe?
Yeah, but that was truly an end of innocence.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I also
Mm.
love Gabe's reaction when he's voted out. He's like throwing his head back, and when he gets the first vote, he winks at the second vote, and then like it's time for him to get voted out, and he's like pointing at the torch, like almost in just like a disbelief that something bad could happen to him. Like
Which is so
do
weird
bad things
because
happen in Gabriel K's life?
which is so funny because his boot was literally fucking telegraphed to him.
Yeah, Rob straight up tells him, "Hey, yo, your tribe's going to vote your ass out."
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like he's just one of those guys where it's just like, does anything bad happen to him in real life?
No.
Yeah, he just goes about being his happy-go-lucky, overachieving self, and it works out because that's usually a kind of person that stuff works out for. Yeah, he just found a scenario where it did not work out for him. Yeah, so shout out to Gabe.
Yeah, man.
All right, do we want to hit the next one?
Yeah, let's hit up the next one. So there are
Hit up the top
obviously
7.
there are 7 characters we all have in the top 7. I personally think that they are all 10 out of 10s. Incredible. And in general, haha, general, but
Not part of the top 7.
correct. But yeah, this is the objective top 7. And all right, I want to ask y'all, who do you think is the first one to go?
I think
Ooh.
it has to be. I think it's going to be Nalia.
I was about
Actually, I
to
think it's
say,
going
I
to be
think
Paschal.
it's someone in the final two.
I think
I,
it's Vesipia or Pascal.
I, I,
Sepia or Rob, maybe.
I think my vote for Pascal skewed it too much.
Yep. Anyways, it
Yeah, that's what
is
I'm thinking about Nalia.
yeah.
I don't think
A couple you got it. Vesepia.
Sepia.
The
Okay.
Price is Right
The goat.
legend. Uh-huh.
The goat.
Oh, she was on the Prices Right?
Yeah.
there's a Marquesas special, or like not maybe not a Marquesas
Survivor.
specific special,
Survivor special.
but it was a rep. It was like close enough to Marquesas where it's not a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. V Sepia. What a player. And
Obviously, like, yeah,
on
go ahead.
geez. Yeah, nah,
Yeah.
Vesepia is one of the greatest Survivor players ever. Like, I think she's also a very underrated character. And I think history has kind of turned around to where people do view Vesepia as a great player. Where even Jeff Probst nowadays, like in a recent interview, he did actively say, you know what? Vesepia is a great winner. I've changed my mind. She's good. I see
Yeah.
that now.
It
I
took
was
her.
wrong.
Did it take her till this year?
To be respected as a winner. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
stupid ass. They had like what, like only like a dozen women they could have called for winners at war, and they didn't even give V a call. Like, what the fuck?
No, that's just fucked.
I have a
It's
lot. I have a
yeah,
lot less issues with the female cast and Winners at War than the male cast, so I'm not that upset by it. But
yeah. Not even
yeah,
give the Sepia a courtesy call.
yeah.
Their only black winner at that. Well, only black female winner.
Yeah.
At that time, that's just insanely disrespectful in my opinion. But like, I get cast whoever you want, and you cast on entertainment. And I understand why Vesepia might be a hard sell as a character, but like this is Winners at War, man. Winners aren't usually the most entertaining characters. You don't want people that are only good at
Hmm.
Survivor on your show.
I mean, look at who they actually cast on the season. Like, they weren't
Yeah.
casting heavy hitters.
Yeah, they weren't casting based on who the most interesting characters were that season. So, you know,
Well,
I'd be
in
insulted.
And Vesepia,
someone's
well,
opinion.
Vesepia, it just is not boring either. Like her first confessional is, Sarah had a nice body. She paid a lot for it.
Yeah, Vesepia has her way of talking smack.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say she's a loud personality. And the reason like she gets forgotten by time or underrated is that she is a quieter, like no drama. Like she's trying, like that's her goal, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh yeah,
tough.
drama free is the way to
Yeah.
be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except she starts all of it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's so great about her is, like we were talking about even earlier, she sets Hunter up to give Sean the whole bit about the black no-nos. Fast forward to the penultimate episode, she's the one that starts that huge argument on the quote unquote race card there
Yep.
in that episode in the fireside chat. Like she's the one that brings up race first and that lets Sean and Pappy get in their feelings. Like she's so great at just puffing up these people and letting them self-destruct. And I think that's just kind of an underrated, also kind of prevailing theme of this season. We'll talk about Boston Rob, of course, later, but he has a great confessional where he says, "Believe it or not, I'm just like Hunter, but I'd never let it show out there."
Mhm.
You know, these are the
Boston
people that'll get
Boston
taken out.
Rob. Austin
because
Rob
they
also has a fantastic confessional about about Vesepia, which might be my favorite instance of describing a character ever, where he talks about how he and Sean are having terrible time fitting in with the group, but not Vesepia because Vesepia is like kissing ass and he like mimics. He's like, it's
yeah, it
like
makes a big
he
over
says
exaggerated
Vesepia is a
kissing
lot better
noise.
at that. Yeah,
Yeah, which is like
one of my
so funny
favorites.
too because I think it perfectly
He because
echoes
he
what
clocks her, and guess what?
yeah,
An episode later, she votes him out.
yeah. He 100% clocks her, but then also he was just talking about how he had to, hide who he was because
Hmm.
that's the kind of person you get out on Survivor. And it's like he almost made the move too early in a sense, where now he has taken the hunter position, where he's the big mouth of the tribe.
Yeah, like
Yep.
So now he's the target. And you know,
Vesepia's never the target. Even like of like it's always going to be Rob and Sean before Vesepia, and that's the whole
Yep.
point.
And I
yeah.
think she just has really you know, I don't know if she has she does with every single person on the cast, but all of her relationships are defined in a way where you know her dynamic with everybody, which also helps when she gets to like final tribal and she gets, complimented by Sean and Pascal, but then basically, ripped apart by the Row Twos for the way that she approached the game. Like she is so transparent, and while she does a fantastic job in the moment of like utilizing it for her advantage, the way that she approaches everything just makes it so that she gets ripped to shreds at the end, and she is still just like
She still
blowing
wins.
smoke up everyone's ass the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't
Yeah.
think she says a single genuine thing at that final tribal council.
No.
Yeah, she really wins just because she has a strategy. I think is
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and Nalia has an all-time terrible performance. Nalia really realistically should have had a 6-1 vote. She should have had an easy layup. The only
Yeah.
one Mararamu, original Mararamu, was on that jury. The Love Tribe wanted to
Yeah,
vote for
if it's like literally any
their own member.
if it's literally any other row two
And
in her position, it's probably a 6-1 vote.
yep.
Yeah, it yeah, Visepia maneuvers around the disaster that's Maramu. She expertly integrates into row two. Like I was kind of pointing out earlier, she's the one that's you know, fitting in, doing the chores, asking about them, asking about their nicknames.
Hmm.
Of course, that all is great foreshadowing to the fact that Visepia ends up winning the Fallen Comrades challenge in a clutch win that she needed to win in order to stay in the game, and it's
Yep.
great. And of course, we her relationship with Sean, just I one of the
All
all-time
time.
great Survivor relationships, stemming all the way from that very one of my favorite conversations, maybe the first conversation they have where all the white tribe members are swimming and they've been left alone, and they talk about
Mm-hmm. They're
both being black and being on
feeling
Survivor. And
feeling forced that they have to be in an alliance, and then
yeah,
Sean was like, "Oh, they're gonna call us too ungrateful." Not gonna say the
yeah.
word, but
Where's your Al Sharpton now?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how they have this shared experience, and they feel like they can't be their true selves entirely. They got to hold back a little bit, and there's always going to be that bond there as both black people, and they can sometimes have similar thoughts and finish each other's thoughts. And the Sepia calls Sean Malcolm Farrakhan, the militant type brother, intelligent, outspoken young man. And they have, and of course, their relationship with God too, that they both share. And they believe in Christ and they're bonded by Christ. And it's, just so powerful. And I love how happy they are for one another throughout, even though they're not always on the same page with the way the direction of the game's going. Like we said earlier, Vesepia votes out Rob. She distances herself from Sean and Rob when she realizes that Maramu is a sinking ship. She will betray anyone. It's pointed out at Final Trouble Council. She flipped all the time, including immediately after Kathy slipped off the pole. She makes that final two deal with Nalia immediately. Like, it's so funny because I was watching it earlier today and she makes it and Probst barely catches it because like Kathy had just slipped off and she's like, wait, Vesepia, what did you just say? And it's like, well, I was telling Nalia that I'll drop and she takes me. It's like, wait, hold up. Just one of that might be the most cutthroat move ever. Like, she did not let
Nope. It's
the
just,
moment settle.
yeah. And considering how they were at the beginning of that day, not only is it obviously heartbreaking for Kathy, but it's just like uh, so brutal from Vesepia that they spend that whole day crying and whatnot, and then Vesepia is just like, "All right, bye."
Yeah, Vesepia is telling people that. Well, she's telling Kathy like, I was hoping it was going to end up this way, us two in the final two. I think it's pretty even against both of us, and we're both very deserving. She's like actively telling her that all day, and then it's Kathy's the first one out, so Vesepia leverages that, and it's just wow, it's so good. Well, just one of my favorite players and characters. I think she brings a lot of great stuff out of a lot of people because
Yes.
her style of play isn't to you know even though she's preaching too much drama
Hmm.
um and all that, her style is to get other people to start the drama. She's fluffing these people up to where they all have problems with each other, and come final five, um maybe that might convince Kathy to think one way or another, or she puffs up Hunter and Rob and all these other players, and then once it's all said and done, once the battle is over, Vesepia comes out there still alive. She's the last one standing.
Yes, sir. All right.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's go
Next
to number
up,
Yep.
six.
we've got
Oh, all right.
the fair and consistent judge himself,
The go.
Oh my
Pascal
The
God, he is
go.
Lewis.
so good.
You have
He,
him at number
he,
two, dude.
he's in my top 20 of all time. I think Pascal is one of the best characters in Survivor, and he is just contextualized very well, and it's just crazy that they have a character like Pascal on Survivor, like not someone that I think automatically stands out as someone like, oh, you need to get this guy on reality television, but just a very unique um, presence with his set of morals and his contradictions and his beliefs and his relationships with everyone and just the way he talks and thinks of the world and his dynamics with everyone. I think Pascal is one of
Yeah.
the all time great characters. It's just
All time.
yeah.
Is also like a perfect example of like bad person does not equal bad character. Like very obviously problematic. Like you can pretty easily argue that this is the biggest bigot to ever play Survivor. And like,
Lord.
if you want to combine like racist, sexist, weird, creepy, he's really got it all. And
What?
he's
He's
still
he's
just like,
collecting he's collecting ists like fucking Pokemon cards.
yeah,
He's got the
he
Infinity
is.
Stones.
And even then, he is still absolutely amazing because of those characteristics and how the show does an excellent job of, like Funky said, characterizing him and like making him complex in letting him be that person while also denouncing those things, but also giving him depth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
never really like slammed. It's all like subtextual. It never really
Oh yeah,
slams like
very subtle.
it's not like, oh my god, he's a bad person. Oh, he like if you on a surface level, his relationship with Nalia is quite sweet, but then it's like there's some very like the way he speaks about her like is not how like
Not
say
normal.
Roger spoke. It's not how Roger spoke with Elizabeth, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. Like you even see that with his relationship with like Sean, I think, where like on the surface, it's the old man and the brother, and they're getting along, and there's things where Pascal is very complimentary of Sean, but then he drops some shit like I'm from Georgia, Sean's from Harlem. This thing runs deeper than the game. It's like it's
how
cultural.
about the how about the Song of the South reference?
Oh, geez.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
That was that was before they were even on a tribe together. But
Yeah.
something that one of the craziest pulls ever, which wow, at that first tribal council that Pascal goes to. So the first one after the swap, Probst asks Pascal about how he feels about the tribe swap. And he compares the experience to, he's like, well, at first I was being thrown into the briar patch, but overall, they treat an old man nice. It's working out for me. And it's just crazy because he's alluding to the story of the Song of the South, where, very infamous, racially inappropriate story that is, there's a whole history there I won't go into, but yeah, that's the literary device in that is the briar patch is symbolic to they think they're punishing Brer Rabbit by throwing him into the briar patch, but then they throw Brer Rabbit into the briar patch, and even though it's scary and it looks thorny and all that, he makes a home out of it. So like one of the most racist stories of all time. He's alluding to it. It's just fucking insane.
Fucking
Which is
Pascal.
just perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect context for the season itself, right?
it's a truly mind blown moment.
Yeah. Another
Uh,
mind blowing moment is the uh night after he gets voted out and he can't attend the final three tribal council because he almost fucking dies.
Oh yeah, that whole episode they're talking about how Pascal is almost hibernating, and he's thinning and has no energy,
Mm-hmm.
which yeah, he's looking pretty bad, and e- even though he wins multiple fucking challenges, like I don't know how he won the fucking
Well, he goes on these
carried that.
rewards.
Yeah, he wins the carry the rock underneath the water challenge.
I
Like,
like to be fair, like I'm not off the top of my head. I don't remember when that was, but I don't think after like post merge, this is after like John and Rob go. This is the most challenge dominant post merge.
yeah,
You're
But
just saying that because it's mostly women.
the general's the only man to wear the immunity talisman this season.
Yeah,
eh,
the women do dominate.
They even do mention that in the show though. Like I think Kathy says, I think both Kathy and Sean say at that final five, they're like, a lot of this will be determined by who wins these immunities, and anyone can win them because they're not strictly physical challenges.
I'm more talking specifically about that carry the rock challenge. Like Hunter and Gabe and Rob and John are not there.
Yeah, the general's there.
Yeah,
But
Nah, they were
pass
Uh,
they were all there. What do you mean?
real. uh,
I think if we want to connect this, like of course Pascal has an extensive off the show um list of
history.
activities.
history. History.
And that kind of goes back to the one quote he has where he talks about how he is in the courtroom, where he's a fair and consistent judge, and
Fair and
he's going to be a
consistent
fair and
judge.
consistent player.
Extremely ominous. Like, even if you have no context on Paschal, but you just have like a vague understanding of the U.S. justice system, the phrase fair and like fair and consistent judge is so ominous.
Dude, that whole confessional is so peak. He says, I don't know how to play this game. I have no clue how to play it. I don't want to know how to play it. I tend to lay back and watch the lay of the land. And then when I think I've got the lay of the land figured out, I'll begin doing something. This is exactly how I am in the courtroom in life. The only thing I can say is I think I'm a fair and consistent judge. I think I'm a fair and consistent player. I'm
And
like, jeez.
I mean, this is the same episode where he says it's so important someone like Sean doesn't make it to the finals.
Just like racist ass Pascal falls on the floor when he loses. They're
Yeah.
not so different after all.
So good. I could talk about Pascal for another like half hour, but I will spare everyone. One of my
Yeah,
all-time favorite characters that I think his
we can
characterization is just
definitely.
so rich.
Yeah.
Honestly, we could talk about so many of these characters, but
I do. This might be a good spot for me to talk about possibly why I'm not quite as high in like things like Marquesas is like
Sure.
like someone like Funky. I know you've talked about how seasons like especially like the first 5 seasons are like, let's say like you're like more of a critic, like a music critic or whatever, or like the movie critic type people on that. And I'm not. I would say like yes, you can view it as that, but I at the end of the day, like it's a reality show that I'm watching to enjoy myself, and these subtleties don't jump off the page for me. Like a season like Marquesas says, there's a ton of these subtleties in like characters like Pascal or the whole religious elements. And I think Pascal isn't someone that really jumps off the screen for me. And of course, I appreciate all of it, but I think that's the difference of where someone like me really enjoys certain other seasons that we'll get to in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I definitely see that. I I do think that
Someone
you are
with
kind of just describing what the reality television evolves to. Like I don't think it always was like that. Especially with Burnett like actively being like super pretentious and really
Mhm.
actively trying to differentiate himself from a lot of these tags. Like I don't even think he really liked the tag reality television. He always, would call it a serial drama and he wanted his stuff to
Mhm.
compete with that um field where that was his frame of vision. Um was movies and all these other great series. So I that is kind of at least me, the artistic intent of the first group of survivors. I don't think all the survivors have that same artistic goal and intent going
I
on.
agree.
Mhm.
But
Like,
you know, so I
like
it's just that much richer for me.
mhm. It makes sense to me that, like, I think Burnett, if I'm not mistaken, takes a step back, like, even like not like fully, but after All Stars, he isn't as involved.
Mhm.
So,
You're
like, the
Alright.
correct.
seasons directly after All Stars are like my favorite seasons of all time. I think there is a correlation there.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I
in
see that.
terms of what I'm looking for from the show, but we'll get there to those podcasts down the road. I've definitely put myself in the position to talk about those seasons.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's cool.
But
Thank you for bringing that up though. I think that was an interesting thing to talk about.
Definitely.
Absolutely. All right,
Let's hit
we
number 5 though.
yeah. So going into this, I expected this character to be, slam dunk in the top three, and he's down at number 5. It's John Carroll.
Boston. Oh,
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 that was Boston Rob.
John
were you
Carroll.
hoping
All
for
time,
that?
all timer, all timer.
Why
Yeah.
don't you talk to me man to man, John?
But as
Johnny
I as I mentioned
Johnny Pots and
as I
Pans.
mentioned previously, the John, Sean, and Rob fight in True Lies might be one of my favorite scenes in the entire history of Survivor, if not my favorite. Like, it is all time awesome. John is like the perfect antagonist for this season.
Mhm.
And he's so like omnipresent in the narrative for the first, 8 episodes. And it is like just so perfect again if you watch the show correctly, if you watch it in order, like having the build up of the first 3 seasons to get to the most dominant alliance we've ever seen, and then have fucking John Carroll get booted as soon as the jury starts is like it's a shock that you'll never expect if you're watching it unspoiled, obviously. Like it's just but it's so perfectly set up either way. Like
Yeah.
the John Carroll
Mhm.
downfall is just like a masterpiece of reality
Survivor.
TV, frankly.
Mhm.
He goes into that
Yeah.
episode saying like the Millie and Pascal are like actively supporting his success, and his mind is blown
Yep.
that they're doing that. And then the coconut chop.
Coconut chop.
Yeah, such is down doing. And he has a line saying that he had satisfaction being the last one to cut Sean's rope, and
Hmm.
he hopes that's going to be a good omen for tonight. And that's just
And then
it's so rich,
he blows Sean a kiss, and then Sean places the kiss on his ass.
so
Um.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's just no way.
Yeah,
There's just no way that you can complain about how rigged that challenge was when you were doing that shit in public, bro. Come on now.
yeah. Who is John? Some kind of Marquesian god? Oh man,
Yes, actually. There's
so
the
great.
Jesus symbolism.
I love that argument you were talking about because John has one of the most bullshit ass excuses I ever heard when they were talking
Oh my
about
god.
like, how they were on
Everybody
alliance.
is an individual.
How can it be a mutual agreement? Each person is an individual who decides by themselves. John says, "Don't hit me with that individual shit." When it was Gabe's turn to go, everybody said, "We team, we team."
It's
Yep.
Uh,
it's so good. It's especially potent. Obviously around the time of the same episode where Rob outs him, and like in the fight, Sean is like, we'd had these conversations about, they
as as a
uh,
as a black man and a gay man and how it is to be isolated from society, there's moments that had nothing to do with this game, so it really hurt him when John was pulling
mhm,
out some BS.
mhm.
I think if you wanted to give like one legitimate criticism to Marquesas and be like, this is the reason why Borneo is the GOAT, even though I think that Borneo is only number 2. I think it is that didn't make the show.
Oh geez.
Like,
Yeah.
I do wish that was like, you just saw like any of that
Yeah,
rather than it doesn't, like the context and everything still works because you are aware at that point that, John is gay and Sean is very outspoken about his about his
yeah, his racial
opinions on
background. Yeah.
yeah, on race and the background that his race has had on him, but
Yeah.
like I
Race
do wish we
relations.
had seen some more of that interaction
Yeah. Oh.
for that scene, even though it's so powerful on its own.
Mhm. And I do love that Rob gets to go before John. I think that's kind of an
Yes,
underrated aspect to
100%,
this is,
Absolutely.
100%.
John gets a little victory and Rob
Mhm.
gets punished for outing him and
Rob
for
doesn't get
taking
to
things too far. He doesn't get to
he doesn't
enjoy
get
the
to
spoils of victory.
he doesn't get to do it for Maramu.
Mhm.
I
Yeah. This
I
36-year-old gay boy from Omaha is running the show and kicking you in your pants or whatever John says.
mhm. Yeah. I think another highlight of John, well, if we can get in stuff earlier on, but is the Gabe boot. And of course, we talked about it with the Gabe discussion. But essentially, it's where the Road 4 is formed, and he's talking about the commune in the 60s, and like pretty much just, I don't know, I think we've discussed it all already, to be honest, but
Hmm.
I think it really builds John up to a point where it hadn't been in those episodes where they don't go to tribal, it's just it just makes the downfall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of times in these podcasts, we get to these characters that rank higher. And because naturally the way the show works, these characters work in tandem with each other. They all is relational. So we sometimes end up, talking about the same scene a few times because multiple characters are involved. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's so good. And
Though I think the one thing we might not have talked about is probably the one things with Kathy. With I guess it's kind of the most famous, like just like
yeah,
single scene rather than like the full downfall scenes. But it's probably not that like it's kind of its own thing. Is the sea urchin peeing on my
yeah.
I don't know.
That's the popcorn moment of the season,
Yeah.
I think. Like if people want to remember the big um, funny clip show moment of Marquesas, it's Kathy peeing on John's hand, which is
It's that or the weather report. Like those things are like they're fun, but I don't know how much they play into the bigger picture.
yeah. I do like it in the sense that John is a nurse too.
Yeah.
So I think it does kind of give a little bit of a that to that relationship. And I think also just does a great job of kind of painting Kathy as kind of a freak of nature, but like a good-hearted
Yeah.
one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's a whole great scene. And Pascal has his performance anxiety.
I'm shocked Pascal even knows what the word anxiety is.
Oh, hey, by the way, I sent a picture earlier. I have no idea if that's exactly what happens, but we'll have to post it on the Instagram. But it's an Aaliyah confessional. In the background, it looks like Pascal is taking a piss. So maybe that'll
Pascal
be
the
the thumbnail of
Pascal the second guy on in Survivor to get his penis leaked.
Poor guy.
After Marcus.
No,
Marcus
Before
on the
Marcus.
bone.
Before
yeah,
Marcus.
Pearl Islands had
Yeah,
I
but
think it
but
was
we noticed it second.
yeah, I think Pearl Islands had either Andrew or Rhinos. I don't remember whose.
Pretty sure it was Andrews.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Let's move on to number 4 instead of talking
I
about penises.
I mean the one other thing, I mean based on the photo on the top right, which is for listeners, John and Nalia at I believe that's what is that Hearts of Reality or something like that, one of the
Yeah, it
charity
looks like
events.
it.
These two were like massively begging to come back around the time of Survivor Second Chance, like Cambodia, and it's I don't know if
They,
it's what they were like
I,
on interviews all the time where like they
yeah,
were like we should have been or whatever we should have been on this ballot or whatever, and like
they were
we really
thirsty.
yeah.
I There should have been some Marquesas people on the ballot. Of course, there
Mhm.
wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Mhm.
The
know,
show did not deserve them.
No. I do
I
yeah,
think
true
I
one
will
of my,
say I do think if they do second chances too soon,
Mhm.
like in the next 5 or so seasons, just based on how the 50 casting process went,
Mhm.
there's a shot for Nalia and Sean.
I think John is old enough where he might not. He would be the oldest returnee that's not named Rudy ever if he came back,
yeah.
Correct.
which
I
is
don't think John
insane.
ever was gonna come back, even though I think he's really interesting. I don't. They had so much of the golden goose has been Rob Mariano for a
Yeah.
very long time. I don't think they want
Mhm.
people to remember some elements of Rob Mariano.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's as simple as that.
Fair point. I also think John. I do not think John would be interesting in the return. I think he'd be very gamey, like the modern era.
Yeah. And like John was a really big super fan of those first 3 seasons. Like he had a tattoo and stuff. Like it's kind of amazing John was as interesting as he was. Like I don't know if John is
Put in the
always a
perfect
good
situation,
character.
I
basically.
think he
Yeah.
stood out in a way that most people did not. Like these gamey types in those early seasons stood out.
Hmm.
in
He's
a good
just
way.
he was ahead of
Mhm.
his time, and I think for what Marquesas was, that is a very good thing.
Yeah, he had his Irish temper, as he says. You know,
Let's
he
move
was
to
willing to
number
fight.
4.
Yeah,
We ready to move on?
yeah. Let's go.
All right,
Yep.
next up, Caleb. You're gonna take the wheel on this one completely. It's Nalia.
No.
Nolia.
Well, I mean, clearly we have some other fans, but yeah. So, so uh, people who aren't, like active in the server or anything, Nalia is my pick for like the greatest Survivor character of all time. So when I say number one, it's like yes, my number one for Marquesas, but also like my number one for the entire Survivor franchise. And that's a relatively recent development, but I mean, she's just to me, she's like the perfect representation of what an all-time great Survivor character is. Like she has the morality and the hypocrisy that some of the best characters of all time have. Obviously, she's like the world's greatest hypocrite. She is completely, morally bankrupt the entire season, and she has the evolution of the show and what Survivor is as a game and as like an entertainment product. And she has the religion and the spirituality and obviously she is involved in all the conversations about race because she is, this 21-year-old Mormon girl from Utah who's probably barely met any people who are not, other white Mormons in her entire life. So she is prejudiced and doesn't understand. And I don't know. I think it just all comes together to create this like perfect character. And I don't think that she's like a better casting choice than someone like Sean. But like in the situation that you actually have Nalia in, basically everything comes together perfectly to create this all-time great character. Morally bankrupt characters, especially, are just like that's my fucking jam. And of course, like her getting to Final Tribal and getting lit up by Tammy and getting lit up by John, but still coming within one vote of winning, but ultimately still losing the game because she's so misguided, but at the same time, like that is who she is. Like she is very honest and genuine with herself while also still being a complete hypocrite. She genuinely believes that she is doing right by doing the things that she's doing, and she has cannot be more wrong. And to me, that's just fascinating.
I love Nalia. She when she says she finds it hilarious that they turned around, turned the game around and beat them at their own game. But she's like, I laugh my head off. Like, yo,
Yeah.
like that. A great illustration of just everything you were saying.
Yeah. And like to make it to the end of the game of Survivor, arguably, some of the hardest that it's ever been. They have no food, no nothing. And you make it to day 39, you're sitting at the end with all the people that you beat and you voted out basically every single one of them without much remorse, or really self-awareness in any way. And I didn't really start playing the game until day 24. And you genuinely you genuinely believe that you are an insane person. You are like deranged. And it's just to me that's just awesome because how can you possibly think that that's something okay to say to anybody else?
She says it constantly at that final tribal council. That's
Yeah,
like her main
it is.
argument. She's like, I
Yeah,
would have
it's her
stuck
it's
with
her
y'all,
it's her
but
number one line.
yeah. And what I love
Like
too with that is Pascal on day 24, you hear him say that I started playing the game today. And then later on when Nalia is voting off Sean, her voting confessional, she cribs the I started playing the game today from Pascal, and then she cribs from the Sepia because her voting confessional is I'm voting off Sean. So much drama.
yeah,
It's just this really impressionistic young girl in a way.
Mhm.
yeah. Very, very easily manipulated for sure, but at the same time very strong-willed in her own way. Like everything that she does, and again, like to bring it back, this is really my one of my main things is that like she is so honest with herself and she everything that she does, I 100% believe that she like fully believes it, and everything that she says, I think that she fully believes it. But she is so misguided, and to be able to be like so true to yourself, but to be such a hypocrite at the same time is like that's all time special.
Mhm.
Like that
Yuki's
that's the
sick.
kind of stuff that yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you just can't get. And like you just mentioned, like the season literally shout out to Discord user R&D Rotten Death for pointing this out to me a couple months ago when they were rewatching. But the season opens with Nalia puking on the boat on their way in, and it ends with Nalia losing to one of the people that she said she'd be pukey sick losing to. So that's just awesome. Like, just awesome
Oh,
storytelling there.
Dude, that is so peak. Ridiculous. Oh my God. Yeah, and I love how the layers of Nalia keep stretching back.
Mhm.
Um, as the season goes further and further, and she's having to, I guess, be more actively involved in the game. And
The show does do a
you,
really good job of like embracing the idea that Aaliyah genuinely thinks that she starts playing the game on day 24. So we're gonna make we're gonna embrace that, and we're going to make Nalia start playing the game on day 24. And from like that point on, she is like the main character of the season. Like the back
yeah,
half of the
Mhm.
season, I feel like is just Nalia's season.
From the
mhm,
first
yeah.
half, though, like
I'd
she
still say
is
Kathy,
literally
but
for the first half, she is literally the oh my heck pixie girl, whatever, whatever. It's like
Yeah, it's perfect.
she's just like, oh my god, what outfit should I wear to tribal?
oh my heck.
It's like,
yeah.
and then on day 24, she starts like, she's the one who convinces Pascal to flip. Like,
Yep.
I didn't come out here to get fifth or sixth. We
mhm,
worked too hard for that, Pascal.
Even though they were
Which,
perfectly
mhm,
fine just making it to the
mhm.
jury.
yeah,
I
and
did, I
earlier
did
in that
nothing.
episode, she's
Mhm,
telling Kathy
mhm.
that they shouldn't talk about that kind of thing, or they'll just get voted out.
The bigger stink you make, the more vulnerable you are.
And then you
Yes.
got greedy.
I've been nothing but honest, but I'd be lying to myself if I voted for Sean if you and me are going to the end and we feud.
Mm.
I'm not going to go out for fifth or sixth. It's
All time. She's just on a fucking heater like the entire back half of the season, in the front half of the
Yeah.
season too. But just like, I mean, she's my all time favorite for a reason. Like the perfect storm. You know, is she like more lightning in a bottle than like a Sean Rector or like a Richard Hatch? Anytime you could get them on TV, no, probably not. But like in the instance of Nalia that we actually have, easily my favorite of all time.
Yeah. And she's such a great deconstruction of like the girl next door,
Yes.
the
Mhm.
Uh,
princess kind of deal. Towards the
evil,
end of the game, you have
evil,
everyone saying that they
evil
think she's
Elizabeth.
working it. She's like, yeah, she's maybe 60, 70% sweetness, but 30, 40% working it. And, more and more people
Evil
aren't
Elizabeth
buying it.
Hasselbeck.
Towards the end, Sean says he's not buying
Yep.
the girl next door act and, get the shit with the mint and all that right out her mouth.
Oh,
Like, gonna offer grown adults a mint out your mouth. Why not? It's like offering a piece of doo doo. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, it's Nili is really, really good. Pukey sick is just one of the most insane fucking quotes ever. And just the like
right.
y'all mentioned how it connects to her in that very first scene we see her in. Ay, ay, ay.
And to be clear, I don't think she is racist. I think that like Pascal is a racist. I think that Nalia said something racist. I don't think she is a racist. I think
She's
she
a
was 21 years old in 2001
and
and had probably never interacted with anybody like Sean or Besepia in her entire life.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
yeah, oops. Probably one of the most sheltered people to ever go on Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She's up there.
Uh-huh. All right, ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Spoiled on that already, but we have the character I probably grew the most on, who I already loved, Boston Rob.
The GOAT. This is, to me, Boston Rob has played Survivor 27 bajillion times or whatever. Um, I think I don't really like Rob outside of this season, but he is so amazing on this season specifically. Like,
Undeniably.
you look at All Stars and you go, this dude, is like the biggest question mark here, but I get it when he is
Mhm.
this gold for,
Oh
the
yeah.
first half of the season.
You could tell how much fun they have working with Rob. They,
And
I think they
Yes.
very much enjoy
Mhm.
working with Rob.
even when bad, he's like he is bad for multiple seasons, like in our character like context. But he's like you can still see the signs of the Marquesas version of him, even if it's for like one
Yeah.
confessional every 3 episodes. It's still there. They're just choosing to portray
Super
him as
charismatic.
the way they're choosing to portray which confessionals they use are like is different than the way they chose them in the Marquesas.
Hmm.
Mhm. He's just such a dynamic villain. The Hunter boot. Again, we've talked about it a lot. The Hunter boot is like chilling.
Mhm.
Straight out of The Godfather.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
that that
true.
that
Yeah.
confessional is all time great.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then obviously he goes to row 2 and he's got his beef with everyone there.
Yeah. Beer
Yeah,
keeps people loyal if they have
obviously you have
something to lose. Man,
yeah,
so
you
good.
have as I mentioned before, you have the fight in True Lies, but the one in the episode previous that Sean isn't really involved in, where it's mostly just Rob and John throwing barbs at each other, and you know, like Rob is like, "Do I have stupid written on my forehead?" And then John like takes the machete and like, "Do I have stupid written on my forehead?" In that
Mhm.
argument, like he's just like such a shit stirrer, and every single character has to reckon with the fact that that they're being like that they're being like rage baited by Boston Rob basically
Yeah.
because Rob has nothing else, especially once he hits the swap. Like
Mhm.
he literally has nothing but besides just trying to piss everyone off.
Yeah, he's
Another
just trying
another
to push
cockroach.
buttons.
Another
That's what he
cockroach.
says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's kind
every
of
single
amazing.
character that
Mhm.
interacts with Rob is like made so much better for it.
Uh-huh.
Like that,
Again.
and that's
Mhm.
something that even when like Light's example, where it's like, you see examples of like the charismatic Rob even when he's at his worst. That's one thing that the Robs that I don't like really don't have, where it's like his relationships with the other characters are just not as good as they are here. Where it's like every single character that Rob interacts with or spends any time with, he has a fantastically developed relationship with them. It's like every single character for the first, for the pre-merge is defined through their relationship with Boston Rob, depending on what
Mhm.
tribe he's on.
It like I know this is off show stuff, but it makes total sense that he's still like friends with Sean. He's like sticking up for him. Like his first like
Yep.
real comment about Sean is like my first impression of Sean is he's a lazy loudmouth, but he's a pretty good person. And then they just become like super tight for however long they are
They bond
left
with their
Yeah,
around.
20 plus
laziness
years.
and love just, shooting the shit, talking jokes. That's some of the funniest stuff is just hearing Rob and Sean talk to each other.
Mhm. Uh, the Rob
Yeah.
Sarah stuff
And then
again is so funny.
Rob and Fafaru is hilariously pathetic. Rob is like actively crying when he loses that challenge. He like actively spits it out and is like pukes it out. Like he loses to fucking Aaliyah.
Does Rob I don't think Rob
Goat.
ever
Yeah,
does
he
it.
loses to a goat.
And after that, I don't think Rob ever does a gross food challenge again.
Yeah,
Um,
I know in some Amazing Race stuff that was kind of a little subplot, but on Survivor, yeah, because All Stars they had the family members eat it, and then
yeah,
they didn't have it in Heroes versus Villains or Redemption Island or Winners at War. I don't think so.
Mhm.
I the one I remember from Amazing Race is when they had to eat a large amount of beef.
Yeah, he just
Uh,
takes the penalty for it, right, or something.
I believe that that was what he did with the strategy, with like strategy, because he was the first one to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, to get back to Survivor, Rob, another underrated thing about him is he just fucks up so many of those challenges for Mararamo. Like we were talking about
And
Farfaru.
Roger as well.
Yeah, yeah, for both tribes. He's like actively like a hindrance in challenges. Like Mararamu is ahead in the table maze challenge until it's Rob's turn to direct the tribe. Because they all have to take a turn directing the tribe. And Rob
Yep.
completely fucks it up, and Rotu's able to catch up. And it's like Rotu's B team. It's like Gabe, Zoe, Nalia, Pascal, or something like that is the winning combination that beats Maoramu at the time. Yeah, so he fucks that up. He's terrible at the SOS challenge, of course. He'd rather splash water at that first individual immunity challenge and falls off. And you hear the general say,
Yeah.
He's
"What I tell you about being a wise ass."
he's just trying to fuck with Kathy that whole time.
Yeah. Oh, the
Speaking of the
Kathy and
yep,
Rob
the
summit
summit. Mm-hmm.
scenes, so good.
I was gonna say let's like to close it out for Raw. Let's talk about like just absolutely masterful final episode performance from him, and that's like one of the craziest editing gambles that the show had ever taken up to that point, where they basically just were like, "Here's the merge episode. We're just gonna focus on two characters the entire time,"
Hmm.
And
and it
Yeah.
worked
somehow
out so well
and
because it
somehow
sets up the entire rest of the post merge perfectly.
and
The
somehow
sepia
even
is so fake to me.
and somehow even though
He
the
was
only
right
like two
about her.
characters get focused on, I still have like four characters like as 10 out of 10 that episode. It's crazy.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. That's so good. They get pizza in like 30 Coors Light. Yeah, it's a,
He
you
gets
know,
yeah. Rob gets so drunk.
yeah, and they're actively like almost like
They're
flirting
both
or
pretty
whatever.
drunk.
Kathy is
Yeah.
like asks if she could take off her pants because they're under the mosquito net. Um, and they like, I've heard a lot about you. Well, I've heard a lot about you. And then Kathy says that Gita said that he's a lazy bum and doesn't care about anything. It is two-faced and mean and manipulative. And he's like, oh, really? And I've been lying this whole game. And his last tribal council he's in, he's like directly asked by Probst if he's lied. And he says, yes, without a doubt, I've lied in this game, but without a doubt, other people have lied to me. And people need to be able to look at themselves in the mirror afterwards and be happy with the game they play.
Yeah.
That would be good
I,
enough for
I
me.
do love I do love how in like the back half of True Lies, Rob just decides to become a fucking philosopher. He's just like spouting at just like just trying to sound super intelligent, which is really hysterical.
Yeah. His degree is in psychology. I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah,
Like,
I
yeah,
didn't even know
he's
he's like,
very
that.
smart.
I did
He's very
not know
smart.
that.
He's just trying to sound very like what's the word? He's trying to sound very like put together and like so insightful about everything. That's the word I was looking
yeah.
Yeah.
for.
That's like his extended final words. If any of y'all ever looked that up, it kind of builds on that. And he thanks like everyone in the production company and in the whole production of Survivor and talks about how great of a time it is because Rob had a very active interest in television and in he'll go on to have his own production company and kind of squander it and some other opportunities he had later on. But
Tom
this was a
Team.
guy that
Tom Team.
yeah. Um, this was a guy super interested in the realm of television and
Yeah.
realm of entertainment and a lot of the basic archetypes for how to make a career out of reality television go through Rob. More we'll see and talk about in All Stars, but the start is here
He
and
made a career off of it.
yeah, and something interesting. I always every time I watch Marquesas, I tell myself I need to pay attention to when they start calling him Boston Rob, and I never do.
It's like episode
Um,
4-ish.
yeah,
It's
somewhere around
probably
then.
I would imagine it's a swap when he's put with New
Mhm.
York Rob.
Yeah,
Because I
because
think doesn't
New
he
York
say
Rob.
that? doesn't someone say New York Rob or something silly like I think Jeff Probst does.
Yeah, because I know in like previously on sometimes they called him Boston Rob. I know Kathy did in a confessional or two. I think some people write Boston Rob on their vote as they vote him out.
Yeah, because you
Um,
gotta differentiate it from other Rob,
mhm,
which I guess you could say the general, but if you just wrote Rob, I think it would not
yeah.
be.
It'd
Mhm.
be
They call him Rob
it'd be
Mariano a
as
lot also,
it'd be as
Mm-hmm.
tough
but
as
yeah.
Bye Bye Denver Diva.
Yep. Yeah, so shout out to Mariano. This is also like the my favorite appearance of Rob Mariano in anything ever by quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, we going to 2.
Let's see
Yep.
it.
All right, number
Let's
Yeah.
do
2
it.
should be exactly who you expect. KVO.
All right.
All time, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
Every
every
every growth
season.
arc in Survivor
Uh,
history is trying to replicate the success of Kathy.
fucking
No
Andy.
matter, Suri is all time great, obviously, but like Kathy is the first, and Kathy is like this is Kathy's season. I know I said Malia is like the main character of the back half, which I do agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is Kathy's season, especially from like an audience like who the audience wanted to win standpoint. This is Kathy's season. This is Kathy's story, and every single growth arc that comes after her is trying to replicate her
Mhm.
success, usually to very negative results.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The potential first boot to the big threat to win the season is it's just so phenomenal. And those are, I think a lot of people forget those early episodes with Kathy. She's so abrasive. She's by herself. She's focusing on things
She's
that the tribe isn't focusing on. She's
she's
hyper
the
fixating on food and fire and shelter and but not doing it in a very teamly way. So it really offsets her and it takes her like a week to really get her groove in, and she does, and eventually she really bonds with the tribe. But yeah, nah, she's someone that very well could have been the first boot of the season.
yeah.
Mhm.
She
I
very
I
well.
think. Mhm.
She was. Yeah. No, she was supposed to be the first boot on Road 2, like the whole time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think that's why they were okay with theoretically voting her out at the merge if she doesn't win immunity, because that's what they're telling Sean and Rob, that Kathy goes first.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me believes they might have done it. And I don't know for sure, but I don't think it's impossible.
I do think Kathy would have been first out on that tribe, personally.
Yeah, which is absolutely fantastic that she's not, and she's given that opportunity to get the growth arc. And I mean, I think she like the reason I have her number one is that whole arc that she has that I think is the best part of the season. Um, that episode, really episode two, I would say, but really the first three episodes that where she's like as you guys said, is super hyper fixated on the shelter. She's this crazy person. Essentially, she pees on John, like we said before. Like it really sets her up as this like crazy eccentric person, but by the end of it, um, uh, she's not, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
you have Tammy in her jury speech
yeah.
saying the person that should win is the woman you backstabbed last night, V.
I was gonna,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say going from like all of the Rotus hating Kathy to like all of them, spoken by Tammy wanting to vote for her to win and being very frustrated that Nalia and Vesepi are the final two and not having Kathy there.
Mhm.
Obviously, just like everything in between works so well to build up to that. But even if you just showed somebody that's like this crazy lady who everybody hates and can't stand because she's so overbearing, to like she's the final juror that the jury like all just hates that they can't vote for her to win. Like that's just compelling on its own.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
I,
Special shout out to her in Tale of Two Cities. That is a extremely nuanced
Oh
and
yeah.
complicated swing vote performance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I it's always really interesting when someone is the swing vote in between you know, two pairs and
Hmm.
the way, it's all broken down. It's really, really interesting.
The way she has
Um
to the way she has to deal with like the race situation and how she does speak about it, it is like I don't think she deals with it in like the most elegant way, but it is something she has to consider. Like there is a connection there that she doesn't have with Visipia and Sean, right? So like
mhm.
even if they are like convinced, like it's a whole storyline, the whole season that they're not in an alliance. We're like we have a connection that that you guys just don't have. It's like, but that is an alliance, so it's like that's a whole arc throughout the whole season. Another thing about Kathy, I think one of my favorite scenes is when her kid comes on the family visit. That's like I think that might be my
Yes.
favorite family visit like ever, where it's like this kid who's
Yeah.
clearly never been outside in his life.
She tells him we don't have rap music out here. I was like, yo. Yeah, that's such a great scene
Mhm,
where Kathy's son just feels so different than Kathy.
mhm. It's like
But yeah,
his buddies are gonna think his mother's crazy, which is like valid,
Which is true.
and
yeah,
how
they
he.
make
Mhm.
Patrick do all the work around camp
Mhm.
and
And how he's just like he just wants to go home. He doesn't care his mother's out here. He just wants to go home.
yeah, and he says something where he says, "I don't like what the game has made you," or "I don't like how what the game has made you become," or something like
Mm,
that. And it's
yes,
just so
yes.
fucking good because
That
Kathy has
It's the episode before Tale of Two Cities where she is at
yeah.
her least, where she is at her least likable as well.
And then
It's
that
like
Mhm.
perfect.
foreshadows All Stars, does it not? No, please, let's not go there.
Ooh, true, 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 true.
Uh,
The worst season ever.
Which, funny enough, Patrick's small appearance on All Stars is like one of my favorite parts of the post merge. Because they have the little video package and Patrick's there and Kathy mentions that she was like he was really concerned that I was willing to go out here and do it again. He really did not want me to do this again, which was probably very correct on Patrick's part.
Yeah.
Patrick Vavrick O'Brien. That just sounds.
That's
EVO.
that
Yeah.
was such a fun scene to revisit. It's just so funny with him being there next to fucking Pascal.
Yeah. And it's nice because it's the first time we really we get a mother son family visit. So it was yeah, it was pretty neat. I very much liked that. And I think he was probably the most interesting person to have that could have won that, even though I don't think as a personality himself he's interesting, but his dynamic with his mother and just a normal guy looking into the manic craziness of Survivor and how it has changed someone he's loved. It was very interesting.
Hmm.
That is awesome.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Shout out to Kathy. Yep. Shout out to Kat.
legend. All right,
Yep.
and I think we're ready.
Yep.
Gee,
All right.
I wonder who number one is, the second highest rated character of all time.
I'm genuinely shocked. You guys, I thought I was going to be the only one who didn't put this guy at number one, but I guess not.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sean's
my
so
fault.
ridiculously
So
good.
Yeah, I mean
to be fair,
it's
to
it's
be fair, Sean was my number one rated character for years, and he is still my number two overall rated character. Like he's still like super super high for me.
I mean it's Sean Rector. Like that's
Yep, that's really all I got to say.
Like, yes,
yeah.
he has a shit ton of comedic lines, but it is the overall depiction of the race, his relationship with initially Rob, but also V. Um,
Yeah, his relationship with God.
Bad.
It's even
And
these
Peter.
relationships with like Pascal.
John Carroll.
Oh my
Peter.
goodness. We've talked about Sean we've talked about pretty much every character here, which,
He played with
interesting
everybody.
fun fact. Yeah, Sean, Visepia, and Boston Rob are the first people to play with every single person on a season. So yeah, Sean actively had interactions with every single person here, and they were all, rich into their characters and rich into his character.
hmm I mean,
Yep.
there's so many countless moments we could point to because I feel like almost every Sean moment is
Mhm.
the best Sean moment. I think
Yeah.
personally,
Cleopatra.
the best moment
Mhm.
of his is his heartbreaking downfall at when he just like cannot help but put his foot in his mouth at that tribal.
Oh geez, that is so good. That his last tribal council.
hmm
Um yeah.
Basically, to prove his point, he has to get voted off for it, which I think is perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's such a perfect ending to Sean, and that whole tribal council is so interesting. Him and Kathy and Pascal all talking it out. Um
Of course, not Visepia.
yeah. Yeah, Visepia is very smart with her words. I think she pitches in
Mhm.
and says, I would agree to Sean's plan. And then stays quiet for the rest of the time. But yeah, and
Yeah,
he's
the rest of the conversation.
I
talking
do.
about how they didn't actively have a pact the way that, Nalia and Pascal actively told each other we will not vote one another off. Sean and Visepia did not have any such pact like that. Sean was saying there were times where V switched up on him, which we saw. Visepia voted off Boston Rob. Visepia, if Pascal and Nalia didn't change their minds and be willing to vote off John, Visepia probably votes off Sean next.
Yeah.
you know, like
Yep.
Sean was never. Sean is a ride or die. Visepia is not.
Visepia is the exact opposite.
Yeah,
But
Visepia jumps to whatever will help Visepia,
hmm
you know? And geez, but yeah, not Sean's just one of those characters that has it all. Like I get some of the greatest emotional moments on this show, some of the most touching moments, some of the
100%.
most hilarious moments. I love him celebrating Visepia's birthday together is so great.
I
Oh,
think it.
that's
it
such an awesome scene.
So
Such an
good.
Mhm.
underrated scene. I'm so glad you brought it up.
hmm
Yeah, he sings her happy birthday and lets her cry a little bit about back home and all that. It's just so heartwarming. And I love his vote for Visepio to win the money. Is so great. He's like, hook a brother up, pay my rent sometime. But nah, girl, love you. Um, he says something like,
Mhm.
um, love you, and if we put Christ first, all will fall into place. um, we'll have
Yeah,
chicken and waffles soon.
I think
Something great like that. It's so good.
I think it is the perfect ending to Sean's story that he gets
Yep.
like his whole thing is fighting for the like being a black person on this season, right? And then
Hmm.
he
On a
gets
very white show.
hmm
even though he doesn't win at the end, and there are very obvious reasons why he doesn't win, and um he does get to reward something that he's been fighting for the whole time, and he's like at the end of the day he is kind of like a winner in terms of like being right in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
like I
yeah.
said, to prove his point, he has to get
Mhm.
voted out for it.
hmm
Yeah.
And goddamn if
Uh,
it isn't effective.
oh yeah. So good. And I love
And
him once Visepia wins, he comes up to Visepia when she's on the floor and it helps get her up and they hug it out and
yep.
they're just, they're celebrating but also giving glory
hmm
to something they both deeply are moved by and affected by and live their lives by. And I get chills Like I love a winner vote reveal as much as the next person. I think they're inherently very exciting moments, but that one actively gives me chills. It is just such a great ending to this season. And just these two characters getting to celebrate together, just pure earnest happiness, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, he's like the perfect combination of like everything you'd want in a character. He's deeply like moving and emotional. He's like hilarious. He is got fantastic relationships with everybody. He's drama starter, shit stir. Like he really is like the greatest character of all time, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. He even makes a farting scene fun. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't think many people
I
could do
was
that.
literally gonna say, I was like, he makes a scene like a 2 minute scene about farting like funny, which is not
Yeah.
something that should happen on Survivor, frankly.
All we
And they
got out here is nature and opportunity.
I mean, again, all that really needs to be said about Sean Rector is that he's Sean Rector.
I'm so happy his reputation in the last, few years has just skyrocketed. Like there was no one was very few people saying Sean was this all-time great character for a very long
I
time.
was.
Yeah, thank you for fighting the good fight
Mhm.
because he
I was fighting the good fight.
yeah, just so good. I'm glad that way too late. Him and Vesepia and frankly Marquesas as a whole, I think, has gotten its
Yep.
flowers way too late. It's one of the greatest works of art
I think
in
yeah,
the medium, you know?
from
Absolutely.
yep, from people who know ball. Like obviously, we loved it, but like I'm glad that a bit more people are starting to see like how artistically genius this
That's
season is.
generally going to bring
Yeah.
And
us to this.
Yeah.
yeah,
Shoot. You
and
have
like
people nowadays saying Sean Rector is one of their favorite players that are on Survivor.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
yeah,
That didn't
that was
happen
not a thing.
10 years for a long time. No one went on the show and said
Ye-
Sean Rector was one of my favorite players.
Mhm.
is Jawan the first? Is he the first one? I haven't been following New Era pregame, so I'm
Fucking
not
Rome did.
completely sure. Well, that's something I would not know, and that is very interesting to know.
Man,
What were
so
Rome's
ridiculous.
takeaways though?
Yeah.
let's,
I'm
Maybe
sure.
did Sean
let's
Rector
not
inspire
let's
Rome to come back to life?
I mean, I feel like
let's
He
talk
rose
about
like
I
Christ.
I feel like he
let's
would
talk about
understand.
Rome on the 47 podcast.
I think
Yeah,
he'd understand the racial implications. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no,
But
like
yeah,
when you're looking at impact, like obviously this is one of the most important seasons of the entire show, just based on like the events of the season. But also like in terms of the artistic decisions that were made and the pivoting that they had to do, there's a big reason why this one is my favorite, and just kind of everything combined along with the cast. Like this is just to me, it's like a perfect season of not just
mhm,
reality TV or Survivor, but like a perfect season of TV in general. Like it's been a while since I've actually watched this one, but really anytime if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, let's watch Marquesas," I'd be like, "Yeah, literally anytime." Even if I just got done watching it last week, yep, let's fucking do it again.
mhm.
Mhm.
oh yeah. It's constructed so well. It's one of those seasons where I notice new things every time I watch it. Like it's
Absolutely. I mean, again, I've always loved this season, but it really, again,
Mhm.
especially now, this was the best I ever watched it.
And
yeah,
like,
it's
mhm. And like as I've said like multiple times, like I am looking for a bit of a different product than like the other three members of this podcast, but like I don't think I've said really anything negative about the season the whole time.
No,
So
yeah.
so it's
nope.
like so it's like do I like other things more than it? Yes, but is it still like great 10 out of 10? Also yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's what I think a perfect season of like the franchise Survivor is.
Yep.
And really, like we mentioned earlier, kind of set the improved, I think Australian Outback proved that you could do Survivor again. I think Marquesas proved that
You could do it forever.
you could do it forever. The great way to say it.
And I think that's a great way for us to end off.
Thank you,
Now
Rosie O'Donnell.
now
Shout
we
out
need to bring Gabe Cade back for a random season.
South Pacific.
Now we need Gabe Cade on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, someone go
Wherever he
break their
may
arm
be.
wherever he lives, so he can
Um,
you can chat him up while
Yeah.
he's
But
checking
I
it out.
did.
if you made it this
Um,
far, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, join the Discord, do the polls, all that good
Yeah,
jazz.
come talk your shit with us. We enjoy talking and we have a good time and
Mm-hmm.
do voice calls and a lot of little fun projects.
We
So
enjoy talking about Marquesas, so come join us.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And Lights,
so
you had
good
one more
and
thing to say? Lights?
um, Gabe Cade is between Knoxville and Charlotte, North Carolina.
all right, yeah. So
Yes.
someone go break their arms somewhere around there and let us know how Gabe
Someone
is.
figure it out.
Yeah.
All
But
right, hey, it's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
good stuff, you guys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.